What is up, everybody? Hello.
Yo, what's up?
It has been such a long time since we've seen all you fine folks. Oh my gosh, Laura,
Sorry,
hello.
man.
Shelby's been in the mix for a hot minute. Anna,
Wow.
hello.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? Well, this is good to have everybody. Good to be back together.
Gosh, man, it's been a minute, and most of it's been my fault. So
you know, 2 or 3 minutes. It's been a few.
Well, a few weeks ago we had Tanya. What's going on? Or Tanya. We had the Minneapolis trip that kind of got in the way a little bit of some things and whatnot, and just trying to, deal with that. And
it was a lot, too.
It was just a lot. It was so much friggin' going on. And then we came back, but I decided to do the unboxing because I had to do the unboxing for that amazing video box set that's over there in the corner.
Right.
And then, so we had to do that. Lenny, what's up, my man? Lenny.
Lenny, what's happening?
Lenny's just been all over. Lenny's just living the single life. He just goes to like concerts and events. It's like I lived through Lenny, man.
I'm sorry. Lenny is the man, the myth, and the legend. And the fact that he's here, I have to do this. I have to. So here we go. Man. Keep that in. I don't know. Such a good shot.
It is. It's amazing. I need to use that as my my screensaver for sure. Kim, hey, how you doing? Catherine, hello. So we're in the middle of a pre-show, so if you've never joined us for a show before, then this has kind of become a little bit of a free-for-all, but we're still going to be having some special guests that are going to come in tonight, so still be prepared to have a good time. We're going to have a really, really good time tonight. Because we had to. Patricia, hello.
Patricia, Judy, what's up?
Caroline.
Caroline.
Is it Caroline or Carolyn?
Caroline.
Sweet Caroline.
Wow, 2 different songs, but that's cool. It doesn't matter. It's got your name in it. I know any song with your name in it. It's got. Yeah, there you go.
I knew where you were going.
I know. You just had to lighten it up a little.
We're in the ATL now. Come on.
That's right.
You know exactly what you're talking about.
Sweet Caroline.
I guess so it's both Caroline. It's Caroline and Caroline.
Yeah,
Either
there you
one,
go.
the same thing. It's just delivered differently. But yes, tonight we're going to be, we're still in the pre-show, so I don't really want to get too much into it, but I guess we can kind of preface this a little bit. We will have some special guests that will be joining us tonight. But tonight we were going to be talking about NPG and the future of NPG. We wanted to talk a little bit about, some of the things that they had going on. We also wanted to talk a little bit about, where that new album is at, what some of the touring stuff they have going on. I know they're planning to go overseas to do a tour. I knew we were going to be talking about all that, and we were going to talk about the celebration and whatnot. So we were going to be talking about a lot of different things.
Right.
But then Tony had a last minute work emergency that he had to go through. And so we're going to reschedule that part of the show. But again, we're still going to be tapping on little tidbits of NPG goodness for you just because you're here. So it's still going to be a good night. And we're going to be talking about celebration stuff too. We're going to be talking. We're bringing in some guests that you guys may know from the Purple family, and as far as like the folks in the audience that are very, very well entrenched in all the matters of estate and the family and everything that's going on. So we're going to be talking about the celebration tonight. That's going to end up being the core focus of tonight's show, is to talk about some of the things that are going on with Paisley Park and what we might be able to expect once the family comes in. Luckily, this is a pre-show. I can cut that out. We'll be doing the show here in about 2 minutes. We'll be going to the actual live show. Yep. But yeah, I wanted to make sure that you guys were aware that we're going to be having a good time tonight. There's going to be a lot of folks in and out of they're going to be coming in, knocking in the door, just dropping in, just to say, look a bit like Thanksgiving dinner.
Just coming in to get some meat.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You never know.
You just never know.
Anyways, yeah. So, Latoya, what's going on? Carrie, what's going on? Who did we meet? Caroline. Yes, it was great meeting you too. Krista, Dawn's back in the house. What's going on, man? It's just, Yeah, all you fine folks all over the place. Patricia Ruffin's in the house. Hello.
Nice.
Yes,
Nice.
so it's nice with all you fine folks. And
I love it. I love it. I love it.
And yeah, so we're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be good.
I gotta say, I'll say it in the pre-show. I won't say it to the regular show. Don't take this wrong, but sadly, I had a bad thing happen, and I'm going to talk about it because it meant a lot to me at the celebration. I lost. I mean, you know me. I got a match. I got to have the right. I got a jewelry or whatever, and I lost something. And so I felt like it was a family member. I feel like I lost a member of my family. It was one of my earrings.
The Gibson earring?
It was my Fender earring.
Oh, Fender.
It looks, they're my guitar picks, and I love them. And I lost one, and I was very, very, very sad. And I still today have sad, and I want to have a wake, some sort of gathering or something over it, but it's too much.
Yeah. So let's just say this. If you were at the celebration in Minneapolis at the beginning of this month, and you happen to be over by the ping pong tables or somewhere around the celebration area, and you happen to have found the other matching part of the earring, if you have to find the other earring, it belongs to Jeff, and if you don't really have like a big connection to it, or maybe you want to hold on to it and say, "Oh, this is Jeff."
That's Jeff Page. Jeff Page owns this. Yes, it is a Fender. It is a guitar pick earring.
Yes,
so it meant a lot to me.
All right, so it is actually past time here to start the show, so we're going to go ahead and get into the show. So I'll do my little normal hand signal that I do for editing purposes, although I never edit it out. I just kind of just leave it in, but I'm going to do it anyways because I'm a creature of habit. Hello, one and all. Welcome to Funkatopia Live. Yeah, Mr. Christopher with my illustrious co-host, Mr. Jeff Page.
WTF. Welcome to Funkatopia.
Oh, my gosh. It's, yeah. So we actually had a fantastic night planned, and we still have a fantastic night planned. Even when you pull away a major piece of what we were going to be doing tonight, it doesn't matter. Because we're like awesome times two. So if you take away one awesome, it's still awesome.
It's still awesome. Twice as awesome.
Yeah. So tonight we were going to be, we had an MPG core focus part of the show that we were going to be doing this evening with some members of the MPG in the house. And we were going to be talking a little bit about just touring and whatnot, as I kind of mentioned in the pre-show. We were talking about the future of MPG, but we're not going to be doing that tonight. We're going to be doing that at another time. It's fine. So tonight's focus is actually going to be on the celebration. Once again, we're going to be talking a little bit about, now we've talked about the celebration. We did a little bit of feedback and whatnot. But one of the things that I don't think that we really talked enough about was the phenomenal show that NPG and the Game Boys in particular put on, and
the fact that you said that, if you saw the show, you felt the energy every time when the Game Boys were doing their thing, you were feeling it. You did. Yeah. You just did.
It absolutely. When the Game Boys were on the stage, it was like you were transported back into the 90s. It was just all the moves and the hip hop. And as I mentioned, even though the show kind of got a little bit derailed tonight, I still have I still have a surprise for you for the this particular portion with a very good friend of mine who, a man I've known for a good bit of time. I still have yet to sit down and have dinner with this man, but I promise you, I'm going to make it up to him. I'm going to take him to wherever he wants to go. It's my brother from another mother. Here's surprise number one tonight. My good friend, the one, the only, Damon D is in the house.
What's up?
What's happening, man?
Man, it is such an honor to have you on board, man. I got to tell you, because I wanted to say, in regards to, are you hearing a little bit of an echo, Jeff? Is
Yeah,
it
you
me?
might have the volume up
Yeah,
on that.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's Damon.
yeah.
yeah. I'm
It,
hearing an echo too.
I don't know if it's I don't know if it's an echo thing on the echo setting or whatever. Maybe, but you're on headphones, right?
Yeah, actually, I got I got on some iPad earpods, but I could put on my Beats though.
I mean, either one. If anybody's listening through speaker or whatever, I don't know. Jeff, I know you're not. We probably are, but yeah, we get a little bit of echo. But what I wanted to say while you're kind of working through all that is, man, when you were on stage, I got to tell you, you are just absolutely. You just fire me. It's just a ball of energy that is just unmatched. I don't understand how you do it, brother. I don't get it. I don't understand how you
Exactly.
you are just nothing but just fire, just pure unadulterated fire.
Now, look, man, look. Well, you ain't no spring chicken, all right? I'm just saying.
Oh, so now you want to go
But the
saying
point
all
is,
that now, right?
but the
Jeff?
point is, you
Okay.
still brought
All
it. You
right, Jeff.
still.
No. Oh, hold on, Chris. Let me holler at Jeff over here for a minute.
Okay, all right.
Uh, I may not be a spring chicken, true, but I've blossomed into a swan. Nigga, and anytime you want to step to it and try to see if you can hang with me, we can do that too.
No.
All right, because I ain't
I-
scared. I ain't scared.
Hey, can't touch that.
Oh my God! Wow.
I'm just glad that you came out of retirement to do this.
See, now hold on, Jeff. Let me address Christopher over here now. Listen, where that rumor came from, and Chris, I'm getting on you because I know you know who said it or
I
where
know.
it came from, but you don't want to fess up because you kind of keep that confidential thing going on
Yeah.
that you
Yep.
got going on. But trust
Yep.
me, I was never retired. Never retired.
I knew that would get you. I knew that would get you. But yeah, no, I mean, there was a segment, I think it was like, it seemed like it was about 5 minutes long, where it was like nothing but just you, and you were the central focal
Right.
point of that whole setup, and you were just dancing and
Celebration.
dancing and dancing and
Man.
dancing, and I was just like, he's got to be tired.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
You must have been speaking of the Willing and Able.
Yeah, I mean, everything that every time you were on, you just have this amazing light and energy and positivity to you that it just beams from you every single time that you were on stage.
Absolutely.
And I honestly, I feel like you just been, you are just touched with talent and light, and man, it's so good to see you back doing your thing, and man, you guys were unreal.
Such a
Appreciate
great.
it, man. I mean, it's been a minute since I've been on stage, and that whole thing came about through my brother Kurt, who came up with the idea and the concept of what was going to happen for that. So, kudos to him, man. For those who don't know at this moment, if you haven't heard, Kirk was the reason that all of this went down in the first place. I can't say enough about what he did to bring all of the musicians together, to
It's a lot.
the engineers, the time spent in the studio, making sure that all the music was going to sync up with what the band was going to be playing, making sure everybody knew what they were supposed to be doing at what time, what was coming up next. Just his whole process that he did just showed exactly who he is, what he's always been doing for many years. Kirk's a phenomenal musician, first of all, producer,
Yep.
writer, you name it, choreograph and stuff as well. I mean, we all pitched in, but we all had a part in all that stuff. And what he did to bring everybody together to piece this thing together and make it happen oh man, just I can go on for days to tell you the things that he has did to do that. So, um, like I said, if you don't know, now you do. Kirk's a phenomenal guy, and
Yeah.
we put a lot of work in. I mean, even before the celebration even got there, the rehearsal times, and I believe me and Kirk got together maybe a couple months before that to start piecing everything together choreography wise for it. And he had already been in the studio making sure that he's getting everything for everybody else, the
Right.
guitar player, the bass player, the drummer, keyboard players, horn players, all that stuff that they were going to have in there. He made sure they knew where they were supposed to be at
Right.
what time, and it was just precise. And just seeing him operate and engineer all this stuff was just incredible. And he put a lot into it.
Yeah. How long did you guys have to practice to, to get all that? I imagine at least a couple weeks of just hardcore.
Well, if I'm gonna be honest, um, as far as the choreography, like I said, me and Kirk went back about a couple months. Um, well, about a month. I'll say a month and a half um, with getting the choreography together, and also thanks to his daughter, my niece, Kayla, who came in to help us uh, view the video for everything and make sure that we knew exactly what we were trying to do, what we may have missed or seen, or things that we could use. Seeing that we're all a little older, we're not no spring chickens, aka Jeff. Um, we had to change some things where we weren't, because if you saw that video, if you knew what that show was back then, we did a lot of, acrobatic type stuff back
Right.
in them days. And, just everybody, we not there. We're not young and we're not diving and jumping over everything anymore. So we improvise on some things and we put it together. So me and Kurt, about a month and a half before that, and then when the band finally got to rehearsal and them three, I think we only rehearsed for maybe 5 or 6 days.
Wow. Wow.
I mean, it was just such an impressive undertaking, and I think watching the camera work that took place, and I assume that Kirk had his hand on that. Kirk, I was honored to have an opportunity to actually meet Kirk for the first time this past celebration because I mean, honestly, since 2016, he's been very, very reclusive. So it was good to actually be able to get in front of him and say hello and shake his hand and
Yeah,
just give him some props for everything that he's been doing during this time, just kind of keeping things afloat and doing things that he's doing. But
by all
man,
means.
I mean, some of the camera work that they were able to do and just being able to go from like when Prince would on screen call out a solo and then they would switch to that camera seamlessly to
And it would just
Levi or Sonny and it would just look like it was a whole part of it. It was just such an amazing thing to watch. It's like,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. I mean, and it's a test to the musicians that did show up and the ones that were there. They got the music in advance, and it was up to them to learn their parts, know it, and make sure that they're on point when they got there.
Mm.
That
Yeah.
was the first thing. We
Okay.
got all the music out to everybody so that they understood what their parts were and knew what they were supposed to be playing and what have you. So in them 5 or 6 days that we took to get everything rolling, it was just making sure that everybody knew where they were supposed to be. Now, the other kick was the drummer came in later than everybody. So Kurt was playing the drums in the first couple of rehearsals so that when this guy got there,
Chris.
we were rolling.
Right.
So, and for him to step in, Chris Coleman,
Yep.
oh my God.
Yeah,
If
he
we're
was a
gonna
monster.
get somebody
beast
yeah,
mode.
now, you have to be a monster to step in behind Mike
It was a
Blank.
monster. Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If you're gonna step in and play behind Mike Bland and kind of hit the things where it should be and not miss them, that brother, all kudos to him.
Yeah.
He put it
Absolutely.
in.
Yeah.
And
It's just
what was really cool about it is, just like you said, you worked on that choreography to change things up a little bit, but at no point did it feel like what you guys were doing was like, oh, they couldn't handle this and that,
Oh,
because
right.
despite when the musicians were playing solos, you're seeing the musicians, but when you guys were doing your thing on the screen, we're still seeing you guys do your thing. And so what you did change, just it's seamless. It still fit. So that
Yeah.
was really well
What's
done.
funny is we looked at the videos when we were putting together the choreography, but the show and what y'all seen, we didn't. I had no clue where we were at or what was playing on the screen. So
Well,
we were just trying to mimic what we could, and then try not to look at the screen or try to figure out where we were at with it. So you just kind of go with what the music was giving you, and knowing what you were supposed to do at that time when you were in that moment back then, anyway.
Right.
yeah, I mean, some of those dance moves were seamlessly integrated with what was done previously. I mean, like you had mentioned, some of the spring chicken stuff that is just like, yeah, we're not doing that. We're not doing all this. We're not doing all these splits and pulling
Yeah,
Prince
man.
up in between us. It was like, we're
Oh
not doing
my
all
God.
that.
Yeah.
Right.
We're not doing all that.
Yeah, it was quite a bit.
We're not doing all
and
that.
ain't nobody trying to pull me between their legs and do all that either. You know?
There aren't enough stunt doubles in the world to start doing all that.
Exactly. We just ain't doing all that, right?
Now, even if Prince was with us, he was like, we're not going to be doing that.
I don't know. Well, hold on. He might.
Yeah.
So what, y'all can't do that?
Oh, shock factor, right?
That's right.
But yeah, it was. Anastasia just brings up a point. Oh, I love. Why did Prince have his brothers pumping his hips in some of the performances? That he was a master of shock. That was it. It was just like he wanted to get your reaction, and he wanted to. That was his thing.
And it always worked.
And he knew exactly, like you said. There it is. He knew it would work. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I know that your schedule was tight in coming to join us tonight, and I'm so glad you're able to stop in for a little bit. And but before you go, I do want to talk, because we're gonna shift here. We're gonna shift to talking about the celebration and the fact. I don't know how intimately you're involved with some of the details and whatever about. The family is going to be taking control over Paisley Park here in about 60 days or less. And I've also heard not really conflicting. I've also heard that July is the month that they're going to be coming in at some point in July. So I am curious, how many celebrations have you actually been to? I mean, they started in 2000 when Prince was celebrating the fact that he was able to cut his ties with Warner Brothers, and he came out with the Emancipation album, and that was the whole point of doing the celebrations. But had you been at any of the previous celebrations, before this one?
I actually was out there doing the Emancipation thing. I didn't nobody know, and they really wasn't paying me much attention, because at that point I was out of the band, and I was a nobody. But I just showed up out there just to hang out and just be there. And then it was kind of cool because nobody really was paying me attention. I kind of came in late night one night, and one of the things he was doing, and he was playing videos and just talking. So when they had the Rainbow Children one, when that came out, I actually went out to start helping, like I was out there playing basketball with people, playing games, and just kind of doing stuff. And he didn't know I actually came out there for that. It was so funny because I was standing in a line with some people to get inside, and they were all standing there, everybody standing around, and then somebody turned around and was like, "Yeah, it's gonna be great." I was just look back, and it was like, and then you have that look like,
Did you play the role of stage crasher? Is that what you?
You look like somebody.
I've seen that before.
It was funny because I was standing there, and they're like, you look like Damon. So now my hair's gone now. I don't have that hairstyle that everybody was looking for. And I was like, nah, I know who you're talking about. Everybody said I look like that dude.
That ain't me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Then somebody else that knew me, who happened to be Kurt, walks up and goes, "B, what you doing out here? And everybody's like, I knew that was him. And I was like, girl, you just blew my cover.
Lenny said he met you and Kirk at the Xenophobia celebration. So yeah, that.
Yeah. Lenny was, me and Lenny took pictures together. I don't remember if Lenny played any ball with us outside. I think we was out there shooting ball and different stuff. So, because Lenny can play a little ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know that he can beat me, but he can play a little ball.
Elaine said, I remember that outdoors and Laura was in charge then. Yeah. So, yeah. But what are some of the things that you think, I mean, when you realistically think about the celebration and kind of everything that they did in this past celebrations, and I guess, posthumously everything they've done since he's been gone. As a Prince fan, first and foremost, what are some of the things that you think that maybe that Paisley Park or the Prince Estate is kind of missing the ball on in these celebrations? What do you think they need to bring to the table to kind of be able to attract more people and more fans? Any ideas that you can think of?
Yeah, I mean, I thought about this and I thought about it for this celebration and how, everybody don't have $400. Everybody don't have $900 just to pop up and, come to something. And a lot of people seriously just want to come see music, see the shows and that stuff. So for me, if I'm looking at what we just did and with the people that showed up and what could afford it, in my opinion, I think they should have had, like, the night that Maserati played, you could have let tickets $40-$50 for people to come in and just see the show. They don't have to come there for all the other stuff. So
right.
Eliminate trying to make everything in one package.
Yep.
Right.
Where if you pay $400, you get to do this much, but you can't do this because you ain't got the VIP. Eliminate some of that. You can have VIP, but make the VIP something special, like, what they did with everybody coming into the studio to hear the song that he did, and, what was it, Son of Sexy MF. That's cool. But at the same time, everybody can't afford that. Everybody can't afford a $400, $800, $900 ticket. They can't. Let's be realistic.
Right.
Bring that price down to where people can, come and enjoy it, even if it, if they just want to come see the performance. Or, you already have tours that go on there. You charge a certain amount for that. I don't know what they charge for it, but you have the tours already.
Right.
When you have a show, just have it open for public. People come. For me, you can make more money if you're not doing what you just did for this celebration. If you just opened the door and said, hey, okay, so it's $100 for y'all to see this show, or $50 or $75 for you to see this show tonight only.
Right.
And then there was a lot of events that when I saw out there, for me, I didn't go outside a lot, but when I did go out there, they were talking about games they were playing. They were tossing beanbag things.
Yeah, doing the cornhole stuff. The cornhole stuff.
Yeah, cornhole. I'm like,
and ping pong.
I same thing.
That's what y'all are looking at fun? I mean, you could have put a basketball hoop up out there and everybody playing basketball to win a prize or something. Or,
exactly.
Have some kind of activity going on outside. Bring a local, act just to perform outside.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody you ain't never seen. There's a lot of acts here in Minnesota that they could have did a whole bunch of little different things. But so they bring more stuff to attract more people.
Right.
Fun
Makes
things
sense.
for people to do. I mean, it was cool, and I know that it was about them trying to generate some kind of income to help with other things that may be going on at Paisley. I don't know the whole story, but if I'm thinking about what everybody would like to see and what I saw and what I thought so forth, the show wise, like, you could have opened the doors and let people get in for a smaller price. It's just our times that we're in right now. Thinking about how much money everything is, I mean, gas and food, everything is high right now. So you want to pay somebody and say, hey, $400, you can come see these people play. Some of these people might not want to see MPG.
Right. Right.
Some
That
of these
makes
people
sense.
surely might not want to see Maserati, but they came to check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They love the
It's
music. That's the bottom line.
yeah, that makes
Music.
a
They
lot of
love what
sense.
Prince put together.
yeah. I think you're right on that. I mean, I think the only thing that's strategically would be like trying to manage how many people buy tickets to the live show, how many people would actually be interested in panels if they have that option. You know, are people only going to buy tickets to the live show, and if they do, how many people are you going to be able to attract to come out just to see the panels if the live shows are sold out? So I think there's some strategic things that would have to be kind of worked out. Maybe you have a package like the offer now for the people that can't afford it, but they obviously had a bunch of general admission passes and stuff that were still available because it wasn't sold out.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, we were never told it was sold out. VIP was sold out, but the other thing was not. So
That then opens the door for that. Why not just set up the celebration itself, the main, see everything, and then the concert, the shows, all of that. Anybody can just buy separate tickets. Maybe separate it completely. Then you really have a little bit more flexibility because a lot of what was going on was that flexibility people wanted. So
Well,
that's
people
also
didn't, and then
something.
the fact that you didn't really know, from my understanding of what I had heard from people, excuse me, what people were saying to me was that they didn't really know who was going to be involved as far as the band was for MPG. They knew Maserati was going to be there, Brown Mark, whatever, but you don't know who all's in their band, and you didn't even know who was initially going to be involved in the MPG show, is what I understood.
right.
Right.
Because it never was put out there. This person's going to be there, this person's going to be there. It wasn't put out until the last minute.
Yep. That's, it is what it is. But man, there's some fantastic ideas. And I'm sure we'll be hearing a lot more about that tonight when we start talking a little bit more about the celebration. But I knew that we had to, kind of move the MPG part of the show that we were doing to another time. And, but I knew that your schedule was tight and you could make it tonight. So I definitely wanted to get you in here before we move into this because, again, we've been friends for a minute, and I had to take this opportunity to let you know, and everybody here I'm sure will agree with me that you are just a ball of energy, and
Light.
you're just and light, and
Oh,
we appreciate you more than you could ever know, and I'm so glad that I'm so glad that I got opportunity to kind of cross paths with you, brother, and
yeah,
thank
I
you for coming
appreciate it,
on and
man.
taking some
I
time out,
appreciate
man.
it.
And see you again on
Hey, no
stage.
problem, man. Yeah, thanks, man. I thank you, Jeff. Listen, man, I want to give a shout out to all the band members that was there. All the people that performed, the crew, and all that. Everybody, man. I mean, you go down the line, and all these guys put in the time to come in there. Levi, Mike Scott, Morris,
Sonny, yeah.
Tommy, Sonny, and there was a couple other brothers that were there. I mean, Kip and Liv, of course, and then this brother named Kevin that was playing bass on Sacrifice, I think, and Willing and Able when Sonny took a break. So kudos to all of these guys, man, and Chris, of course, who was killing them drums. So
He was killing it.
um,
Chris Coleman, right?
yeah, Chris Coleman,
Murder.
man. So to all of them guys, man, I mean, we can't make that happen if we didn't have all of them. And, they came in, did their homework, and laid it down, and we just tried to do the best we could to bring them, what you were going to see on the screen and bring it to life with us and stuff. So that's what was happening. Tony, me, and Kirk, we just was doing the parts that we did back then. So,
Yeah.
It was great.
Well, here's a little bit of love before you go. Vicky says, "Good seeing you, David." Krista,
thank you.
hashtag legend, and of course
Oh, no.
Nadine. Like
Oh,
says,
my God.
so here's a bunch of love for you. Lisa
Lots of
says you're awesome. Elena says good to see Damon on stage where he belongs.
Yep.
Yes, it's just and of course April gives a little shout out there. Yes, and Facebook did Damon on stage. Shout out your presence is always needed with the MPG, and yes, and D's energy is always amazing. Just a little bit of love for you before you go, brother.
Yeah, man.
Once
Yeah,
again,
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
And we will talk. We're going to get you
Yeah,
on. We're going to
we
get
will.
you on again because I know you got lots of stories to share. And I know you got a tight schedule. But thank you so much for coming in, Damon.
We
No
appreciate
problem,
you, man.
brother. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Chris. We'll talk to y'all later, man.
We'll talk to y'all later. Love.
right,
We'll
man.
see you, brother.
All right.
All right, man. Man, I tell you what, it's that's we got to switch. I got to make sure I'm on my regular side. It's always good to have Damon D in the house. As I said,
Absolutely.
we started out the show. We were going to have this a big NPG session that we were going to be doing tonight, but there was some work emergency stuff that came up with some of the members, and so we kind of had to shift some things. But Damon still wanted to stop in, and I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about it and give him some major shout out and some love for his contributions to what happened at the celebration and how amazing that was. Because I got nothing for love for Damon. I've known him for a long time, and he's such a good guy. Such just pure energy, man, and it's.
Serious business. It was good stuff.
Man.
And and again, that show was just he brought it. They all brought it.
Every time he was on stage, it was just like, oh, okay, here we go.
Here we go. Right.
It's gonna be energy now. Here we go. Get ready. Oh, okay. If you sat down, you saw Damon come on stage, you're like, I've got to stand up.
You stood back up. Yeah, that's right.
Gotta stand up now. Gotta keep up. Gotta keep up with
Get
Damon.
on up.
We can't be embarrassed in front of Damon.
No.
If he sees us sitting down, we're gonna be in trouble. Yeah. But yeah, so tonight we're gonna do the rest of the night. We're gonna be talking about the celebration, like we just started talking about with Damon, and kind of got a little bit of his input on his, his thoughts on what we can possibly do in the celebration. And so I did see a lot of the questions that you guys were putting up regarding NPG. That I did not put on here that were kind of just because we want to save that for the NPG show. So I didn't want to ask about new albums or touring, anything like that.
Hold it. We'll hold it.
We're going to hold on to that. Just hang tight. But we did want to bring you Damon so you guys could get a little bit of NPG action for the night. Yeah. So what we wanted to do though, is the second part of the show that we were going to be doing, even though we kind of did a little bit of the first part.
I mean, here we go.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the celebration. And one of the reasons why we wanted to talk about the celebration, because a lot of people have already done post celebrations. We've already done a post celebration already.
Right.
But there were some things that I think still need to be answered. And we really kind of wanted to talk about. And the reason we do this is because I know that occasionally, believe it or not, Sharon Nelson actually does watch the show occasionally. And she is part of the family unit that is going to be that's going to be in charge of Paisley Park here in 60 days or less.
Right.
From what I understand, some people say July. And there are some people that are intimately involved, or not intimately involved, but really pay attention and know a lot of the details of some of this stuff. So I invited some guests to actually come on and
spend some quality time.
Just kind of share some information, share some thoughts about the celebration and stuff. So we wanted to talk a little bit about what we think needs to probably happen once the family comes in. I mean, realistically, is the family even ready for this? Because they've kind of been knee deep in litigations and paperwork and legal this and legal that. And now all of a sudden,
boom,
it's going to be placed on them. How much strategy meetings could they have possibly had in this interim? I mean, I'm assuming there's some prep work that had to be done at some point in there. But so we got some special guests that are joining, one of which is, I'm going to let her introduce herself, one of which is with us already. She's sitting in the mix. Marilyn's in the house. What's going on, girl?
I get the party horn. Thank you so much. So funny.
Yeah. So how are you? Well, introduce yourself for people who are not familiar with you.
Okay. So I'm Marilyn McNair, or Marilyn Celeste McNair on Facebook. I'm an author. My day job, I work for WABE PBS here in Atlanta, Channel 30. Okay. And
ATL in the house.
I know, right?
We control everything. ATL controls the world.
Control the world.
Exactly. You would think. You would think.
All the land.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, Atlanta is becoming unlivable, apparently, but that's a whole nother.
Well, they're working on it for sure.
Everything is very high. You used to could afford to live here, but apparently now
You can't live anywhere now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
well, and since we talked about the author part of this, share the name of your book.
my book is called "We Took the Long Way Home" by Marilyn Celeste, and it's available on Amazon as well as Barnes and Noble.
All right, we'll make sure that we get.
Excellent book, excellent reviews. It's a big book. It's 656 pages, but it is an epic saga of family, love, and betrayal. It's excellent.
I'm absolutely fiction and nonfiction.
Oh, it's fiction, but it's based on historical fact. It's based in Detroit, Michigan, around the times of the riot in '67.
Oh.
Yeah, it's four high school friends, and what happens to their lives as a result of the riots.
Just a few years before I lived there. I lived there in 71, 72.
Oh wow!
So,
I did not know that.
Yeah, in the projects of Detroit too.
Oh my God!
So yeah, it was very rough in Detroit. Yeah. So it was especially for a little white kid. Yep.
I'm sure it's toughened you up though.
It definitely toughened me up. I was in fights every day. Absolutely.
Exactly. That sounds right.
Yep, it's right. Absolutely. And we also have another guest that's a very, 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 very dear friend of mine. And some of you know her if you've been to any celebrations. She's most likely she's been there. My good friend, just my sister from another mister, Miss Audrey Johnson's in the house.
Hey.
Audrey.
Hello. Hey, Jeff. Hey, Mr. Christopher. Miss Marilyn.
Hey.
How you doing?
So we are, this is so cool because, we want to talk about the celebration, and kind of talk about some of the things that were going on. I know that a lot of people have had these post celebrations. Well, what can they do next? And matter of fact, my good friend Rodney, I think I didn't even know this. He had a clubhouse meeting last night, I think it was, that talked about this very topic. What do we want to see next? And I was like, and I invited him to come on the show tonight. He was like, well, I did that last night. I was like, oh, damn, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that. But that's, it is what it is. I think he'll join us at some point. But one of the reasons why I wanted to kind of bring Audrey and you, Marilyn, in is because, you have, Audrey, you always seem to, and you say Marilyn does too, always seem to pay attention to a lot of the minutia and details that are going on with this whole dynamic with the family and the estate and some of the changing of hands and whatnot. And Audrey, you've even sent me like a link of like all the legal documents that are going on with the family and the whole Paisley Park situation. Can you, I guess I'll start with you, Audrey. What do you know about what type of control the family is going to have as far as Paisley Park is concerned that you're aware of?
At this point, Chris, it would just be like a really good guess as to what they're going to be responsible for, with Primary Wave also being a majority holder now of shares within the Prince estate, right? Mm-hmm. So it would seem as though they sort of take one lane, Primary Wave takes, a lane that, they're doing really well at with music releases and other things of that nature. Mm-hmm. And the family sort of focuses on the other entity of the estate, which would, be Paisley Park and all of those things that go on. And really growing that and making that more interactive and, really making that more dynamic than what they've seen, and bringing on a lot of younger, I will say, ambassadors for the Prince estate. That's sort of the thing I think they're probably going to stay focused on. Yeah, and just the running of what happens there on a daily basis, the day-to-day operations.
And when we say family, just so everybody's clear here, because I know not everybody follows it. I don't even follow it as deeply as Marilyn and Audrey do. And Marilyn, I'll let you kind of add on to what Audrey may or may not have touched on that you find interesting about this. But when we say family, it technically is what they have been referring to as SNJLC. Seems like we can rearrange those letters a little bit more for an acronym to spell something out, which is the S is Sharon Nelson, the N is Noreen Nelson, the L is L. Londell McMillian, the J is the John R. Nelson Revocable Trust, and then of course you also have Charles Spicer in that mix.
Right.
So, and of course there are other members who have already sold all of their rights over to Primary Wave. And that basically consisted of 100%, you told me, 100% of the inheritance of Prince's youngest of 6 siblings, Omar Baker. It was originally 90% of Tyka's scenario, but she recently sold them the rest recently. And then Alfred Jackson. So Primary Wave owns all of their rights. And I guess, well, first off, before we kind of go down a little bit more of a rabbit hole on this, Marilyn, what, as far as what Audrey was talking about as what the family is going to be able to control and what they aren't going to be able to control, what are your thoughts on the family taking control of Paisley Park? I mean, realistically, do you think that, as I mentioned before when we were talking to Damon, they have just been buried in litigation and legal messes since the very, very beginning. Do you feel like they are ready to kind of take this and keep the ball rolling efficiently at all? I hope so.
Well, yeah, we all hope so.
Right.
We know what we like, we know what works and what could be improved upon. But first of all, kudos to Audrey for really keeping up with all of this. I mean, she is really on it. All the legal stuff, and I've only seen Londell in passing, first in Minneapolis when they unveiled Prince's street sign, talked to him briefly, and then in Atlanta a couple Saturdays ago, because Prince was honored with the Black Excellence Walk of Fame award here, well deserved.
Yes,
and he showed up with the same members of the family that were at the street sign event. And he basically has a mantra: we're taking over in 60 days. Oh, things are going to change. Like, you know what I mean? He keeps saying that, but you try to question him. And you have to pick your spots. You have to know you're at an event. He's talking to a lot of people. He's not going to really answer you in a way that's really cogent or is fact-based. He's just letting you know they're ready to pounce, and all this kind of stuff. But to answer your question and to piggyback on what you said earlier, I don't want to live in a fantasy. I think that family has no idea what they're getting into as far as Paisley Park and the fandom of Prince. The fandom of Prince is so strong and so vocal, and we put our money where our mouth is. And it can't just be anything. And I did mention that to Londell. He was like, oh, it's not about money. But I didn't dispute that. It was like, it wasn't really the time for it. But for a lot of us, it is. It's like, what experience do I want to spend my money on? So, but to answer your question, when I hear people like Tyka, even though she's not a part of it anymore, she's cashed out, Omar cashed out, and Alfred, I don't know who that person was who got him, and then I guess they sold to Primary Wave. But for her to say things like, oh, I met somebody from France and I can't believe somebody from France is here, that's so naive and silly to me when I hear things like that. I'm like, yeah, I met somebody from Austria today and then somebody from New Zealand last night. It's like, it's the world. Understand.
Jeff and I were talking when we went up to Minneapolis. We were up there for the event. We had people coming up to us from Germany. Australia, New Zealand. Everything was saying, "Oh, we watch Funkatopia live. We love you guys." Blah blah blah. It's like,
take a picture.
Exactly.
Prince is worldwide.
Yeah, it's worldwide. So when they say things like that, I go, "Oh my God, they have no idea. My only hope, I try to keep it positive. My only hope is that they listen to the fans and they really go in and not like throw out the baby with the bathwater. They really look at what can be improved upon, not like, here we are and now we have this thing. You need to have a thing that's going to make money in a way that honors Prince. Prince deserves to be honored. He deserves his legacy not to become tchotchkes and nonsense. So.
Right. And that's the whole purpose of, I'm sorry, Jeff. That's the whole purpose of the show is because as I mentioned, I know that Sharon does watch the show occasionally. And so I wanted to make sure that one of the takeaways from this show tonight is that we're able to kind of vocalize some of the things that we're seeing in the chat area here.
Right.
And vocalize some of the things in a positive
yes.
and productive way that they are going to be able to say, okay, we hear what these fans are saying. We hear what's going on and what their expectations are with this transition, and try to provide them not a blueprint, because Lord knows if any of us were thrown into the position, we would know what we want, but there's so much that goes into this. And
I think that what you just said though, Chris, was, really the right approach that we're going to have to now take as, they come on board. They're going to need us just as much as we're going to need them.
Right.
In order to keep this train going.
Yes.
In order for that next generation that is really watching what we do, right? They're seeing how we celebrate this dude. So we have, we're setting the table for them as well.
Right. I agree. And what they've got to understand also is we all understand this argument of it's not about the money. Everybody knows what that means. But as long as they keep in mind that it still involves the money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying?
It takes money to keep things going. Paving
Exactly.
Park in itself, from what I understand from speaking to Prince's former assistant, that it's cost something like $150,000 a month to just run Paisley Park. So, that's an undertaking. They have to make money.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so, I guess I would say that, again, I think because of the fact that everything has been wrapped up in all this litigation and legal stuff, that what they're about to experience once it kind of lands at their feet, I want to believe that here's my guess, is that everything is going to kind of continue to be running like it's running. But it's just going to be as far as who's on paper still there, but may have a little bit more of a say so as to, what directions things start moving in. And I'm sorry, because I'm not really completely aware of the answer to this. Is Comerica in or out at this point as far as the management of anything?
I think they will be out once the family takes over, right? So that LLC, that Prince Legacy LLC, had to be set up to put all of the S corporations that Prince had underneath one umbrella. So that's like a huge financial piece that had to be put in place, major infrastructure for them. And the courts weren't going to allow them to take over until all of that was sort of set up.
So as far as who is actually deciding what gets released, as far as like these releases, like these music releases, and let's start with the music releases. Who is ultimately making the decisions on these now? Do we know that? Or do we, because I don't really know who's all pulling the strings on what gets released. Now, my guess is, and here's the thing I got to say about Primary Wave. Okay, I Primary Wave, I don't necessarily have a problem with Primary Wave as a Prince fan, because I know that they are going to be focused on releasing material to support their investment. So, and ultimately, that's what Prince fans want, is all of that amazing material that has yet to be released to finally make its way into the world. The videos, the unreleased material, the jam sessions, the special mixes and whatnot. So I don't necessarily have a problem with Primary Wave kind of owning that piece, because they're always going to do what's best for their wallet. And while that seems kind of a horrible thing to say for as a Prince fan, that's
realistic.
ultimately what has to happen in
Right.
order for us to be able to get this stuff that we want.
Right.
So I don't really have a problem with that, but the rehashing of the same material repeatedly, let's just repackage it in a different way. And
I think Warner Brothers had a special contract, which I thought ended in 2021.
I
That's
thought
why
so
they
too.
were so gung ho about releasing. You know how all of a sudden all these old releases got redone and repackaged and what have you. And I thought it ended last year, but then you have all this excitement around Syracuse 1985. That's Warner Brothers. So I don't know unless they do a piecemeal thing, much like Prince did when he was alive, where he would work with BMI or Sony or whomever, to release one thing. I don't know if they have these one and done type contracts that are separate from legacy recordings. I don't know. I think another deal. So
yeah, I think the legacy side of things is kind of what keeps churning out some of this rehashing of things. I honestly would not be surprised if we see another iteration of Purple Rain, something or other.
Yeah,
to be totally honest, I mean, because a lot of Prince fans, I mean, God, it seems like everywhere I go, there's Purple Rain shirts now. All of a sudden, it's just like, all right,
everywhere,
everywhere now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so on the Primary Wave side of things, I'm okay with that piece. I'm not really bothered that Taika and everybody sold their shares. Rest in peace for those that have left us. But I'm not really upset at them. It's theirs to do with what they want. But as long as whoever is holding the shares is still able to, step in and give us those releases and give us those things that we really want. So, family, if you're listening and you have any influence whatsoever in pushing some of these buttons, what we want are some of these jam sessions, some of these lost tracks, some of these things that used to be bootlegs. Give us some official versions of some of those things. Give us some live concerts. Give us, some official live concert recordings. Give us some of these videos. We just saw this new video that popped up of a Jesse Johnson concert from 1984 where Prince came in and sang The Bird with him at one of his shows in 1984. That's been popped up. You can see it on Facebook now. It's in heavy rotation right now. But those types of things that we know that they exist, we know that there's jam sessions from a variety of different people. We know there's so much stuff that's out there. We want to see those things and we want to hear those things. So as far as Primary Wave is concerned, that's the stuff that we want.
Absolutely.
And I mean, as fans, I realize, and I can't remember who I was talking to. It may have been, I think Tony M. I had a discussion with him about this. We were talking about the fact that that's what people will spend money on, is the Purple Rain stuff, is the 1999 stuff, the stuff where he was in his heyday. And that's why they keep rehashing some of these things. But I think that they're really missing the boat, because I don't think they realize just how rabid us Prince fans really are. And we'll come and we'll spend the money if you give us the right stuff. But people aren't going to, the hardcore Prince fans are not going to all be clamoring to get the same things repeatedly over and over and over.
Yeah.
If they put it in planned format and they do it properly, when they do release that same Purple Rain or something else, again, to those people that loved it during its heyday, like you said, and then they time it, because that captures new audiences. So if they time it properly, then they can release something secret and unreleased that even the new person will catch on to. So they've kind of, if they staggered the way they put these out, I think it would make a better response, because when they're still getting new fans. Prince is still getting people that I wasn't really into Prince, and then I heard So
Right.
if they start doing that, I think that'll increase sales and it'll move people on. It's kind of like the funnel that everybody learns about when you go on a website. Just move them through the process.
Yeah.
But, so use the old stuff, but then take that and steer these people, steer everybody. And I think
So
that'll
what's
make better
happening
results.
though? What's happening with okay, for instance, in September of 2020, Chris, you were there for the New Year's Eve party. Remember they premiered that with Miles Davis and what have you. And
Yep.
at that time, Alan Seifert was there, and I had a kind of a long conversation with him. You just basically, I don't like to complain, but I like to be clear with whatever I'm saying. And I kind of got on him about the fact that Celebration was very expensive that year, 2020. Remember when they came, it was like $1,500 for
Yep.
VIP. It was, and then you look at some DJ who nobody really knows, and he was like the main person. I said, don't ever do something like that. Like we have no interest. For us, it's all Prince all the time. Whoever you get, they need to be doing Prince's material.
Right.
Do it their way or whatever. It better be good, or it's going to be, possibly curtains for them. I don't know. But the point is that we're vocal. We don't want to see some guy who likes Prince. So what? We like him too. But we're not trying to be up there, the focus of 4 days of celebration. So he understood that. But I think my original point, what I was going to say is, I asked him about piano and a microphone. And I said, how when we came to Celebration in 2018, 2019, how we got to watch,
Say it, sister. I'm to say it.
We got to watch that. I said, we were thrilled. We came and sat in our seats. The lights went down, and it's piano and a microphone, like the real one, And I said, what's going on with that? Alan Seifert told me at that time, he says, we're working on that. We know this. We've heard the fans. Trust me, you're not the only one. Whatever happened to all of this? I feel like that 1983 thing was some kind of weird red herring for Warner Brothers. I don't know, but
that drove me bananas.
Yeah,
They
there's
took
so
out
much they could do.
and called it Piano and a Microphone 1983.
Crazy.
My head exploded.
No. It's like, no, we have to reclaim that. We have to reclaim the real one. And my whole thing was like, you can do the ones at Paisley Park, the 2 shows at Paisley Park. You can also do his 2 last shows in Atlanta. There's a way to package that, and
I think they're waiting. I just think they're waiting. They're going to sit on that for a minute because they know the value of what that is.
Yeah, it's very valuable. And so, and I look at Michael Howe and Troy Carter. Where do they fit into any of this? Do you guys know?
No.
Well, they still have their responsibilities. Michael Howe is still responsible for, archiving and all of that and going through all of that material.
Yeah.
Troy is still involved. Trevor has a role in this. Trevor Guy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right. I've heard his name a lot.
There are a lot of players.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be a minute before we see piano and microphone.
Now, and we know that, and as far as the Prince piano and the microphone, they know, I can't say it enough. I was blessed enough to be at both of them. Marilyn, were you at those concerts? The Atlanta shows?
I was not. Sadly. Okay. I know many people who were, though. But
yeah, I was at both of them, and they were absolute magic. But that's one of the things. His final concert, the 10 p.m. show, the final concert is there. That is a golden goose for the estate or for Primary Wave or whoever is going to have control of that. I mean, I know that I don't know how all this stuff works, but
well, when you say the estate, you have to. I mean, it is Primary Wave. They're part of the estate.
Yeah,
so
true.
You don't need to separate.
And they know music.
Yeah. Well, I'm really specifically speaking more about like the rights to, like, who technically owns all the rights to that concert specifically. Is there some things that are excluded from what Primary Wave can touch, or they pretty much have just a percentage of everything that's there. That's the part that I don't fully comprehend paperwork wise how that all works out.
You would think, okay, so when Prince passed away, he was an independent artist, right?
Correct.
Unless he signed away something, that stuff belonged to him. Everything that belonged to Prince now belongs to his estate, his family, the Prince Legacy LLC, I suppose. So, and we know that he, going back to what you were talking about, like some of the things we want to see, he filmed everything from the beginning of his career. Even Lawrence Day, who's into hyperbole and stretchers, I don't like to say lies, I'll say stretchers, said that he used to videotape everything. That was one of his jobs. So we know that there's so much out there. But getting back to your point, I would think during the Real Piano and a Microphone, he was still an independent artist, and those videos, all that stuff is in their possession somewhere.
Yeah, but there was no cameras floating around at the Fox Theater, just so we're clear. I was at both shows. There was no big cameras on the side stage. There was none of that. So any camera footage that they have of Prince Piano and a Microphone is either done via the stage or maybe from the lighting rafters, but there was like no multi-camera shots that were happening or anything that was as far as that's concerned. But and I don't want to get too far away from the celebration discussion, which we already have, but I don't care. It's fine.
We're in the weeds.
This is a rabbit hole. We do this all the time. The Prince Piano and a Microphone 2016 is a golden goose for the estate. That's the reality of it, because they know when that concert gets released, it's
all the money everyone will spend.
It is going to be a massive, massive seller. You don't even have to do a whole bunch of marketing for that one, because if people know this is Prince's final concert, it's a done deal. So
it'll market itself.
I think there's a strategic.
It may be 10th anniversary of his passing, something like that. It may be 2026 or something before we see that.
Well,
like I said,
I hope so. Yeah.
Paisley Park, as well as the beginning when he was kind of feeling it out and talking, saying very personal things that he kind of dropped a little bit from the rest of that very short-lived tour. And then the last two shows, I think there's a way to package all of that. And of course, what was done at Paisley Park is on film. We don't know about what was done at the Fox Theater in Atlanta. So.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that are golden gooses, in my opinion. The deluxe or super deluxe edition of Parade, that's kind of, we keep hearing rumors of this, and the primary thing that we've been hearing from people on the inside is that it's the movie that's causing the problems, because the rights to the movie have changed hands like multiple times, and you can't separate the two.
So is Warner Brothers still in that?
I don't know who's a part of it now, but there was a company
taking that away. I can't imagine.
So there was a company in of France that owns some type of rights to it. It's just a big mess. So we just kind of gave up on even saying that something is happening. But you got everything that was released in the 80s that still stands the test of time to this day. Releasing it as super deluxe is going to be a mix. We have another guest in the house. Let's bring him in. Mr. Rodney Fitzgerald's in the house.
Rodney. Did I win? What did I win?
Yes, you won.
What are you, Andre now? Andre was there. What did I win?
Hello, everyone. Family here.
Fitz, what's
Madeline, AJ, what's up? Jeff.
What's
this
up?
guy calling me out. I'm like at work, like, you're like, we did a show the other night. No, I just didn't want to regurgitate what we were doing Sunday. It was basically people's input. And I just want to,
Oh no! Oh, that's what you mean by calling you out.
Yeah,
no. You were calling me out because I kind of felt like oh shit, I just stole his topic and now I'm running with it.
I just wanted a fresh perspective, because at the end of the day, we run all this. At the end of the day, it's the fans who run this, so their input is what is needed. So to get more perspectives, and shout out to Maryland and PBS. My job as well.
PBS as well, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it got a little bit of PBS representation in the house tonight.
So what did I miss?
Well, we're ultimately talking about to kind of do a little bit of a synopsis, even though for those who also have just joined us, we started out the night with Damon D, who came in and talked a little bit about the celebration and everything that went into doing that MPG and Prince Live on the Big Screen performance. We talked a little bit about that, even though we're moving the MPG part of the show till later. But then we have all of our illustrious guests here, Marilyn McNair, Rodney Fitzgerald, and Audrey J in the house right now. But we began talking about the celebration, but ultimately the question that started was, the family has been so wrapped up in some of the legal representation, some of the litigations and everything that's involved and just kind of going through all this insane minutia that is the courts. And with the baton of power being handed to the family, do we kind of ultimately feel like they're ready for this transition, and what our expectations are as fans as to what we kind of want to see? Because I think we have to kind of set our expectations, lower the bar a little bit, because I don't think they're completely ready for everything that's going to be the onslaught that is us. And I just don't know how much they're going to be ready for as far as some of the marketing planning that they're going to have to, I guess, step up now and assist with, or are they even going to have any active part? Are they just going to let things just continue moving like they're moving, and just their checks are going to be bigger now? I don't know.
Yeah, and I feel like we have to be realistic about whatever the new thing is, because it's a transition, and with transition, things take time. So whether there's going to be improvements or not, that will take time too. But as long as they take the time to listen to the fans, to pay attention to what they're hearing, then they can start planning in the directions that will maximize what they're trying to do. So it's all of those things coming together.
Okay. From what I know, and I'm not a genie or anything, but from people who've told me, from my vantage point, I believe that they are ready. They have been working hand in hand with Comerica and Primary Wave. But just let's look at the timeline. Graceland, Comerica, then moving on with the family. Look how much stuff we received in 6 years. Barring anything else, versus most artists who passed on, who are still waiting for stuff. But we're a specific group who are insatiable. We just got Syracuse. Now we want another 17 LP box set tomorrow in due time.
We are insatiable.
But we have to make a realization to ourselves that we may not see and hear everything in our lifetime. Right. And once you get past that, you'll be able to enjoy some things. We won't hear everything from the vault at my age of 52. I won't. But the things are going out. 6 years, we've got a lot of stuff. If you look back.
Agreed.
Oh yeah.
So
a lot.
I mean, people are still digesting Sign of the
Times.
Right.
Right. So
that's a perfect example.
Now
as soon as that came out, everybody was talking about what was next.
Right.
And I'm like,
I'm still
haven't even listened to that twice, probably.
And we're teased by the Glam Slam show at Paisley. And now we want everything from 92 era. So everything is going to be in its due time. But I think that with Lundell and Charles and Noreen and Sharon, I think they would do a great job. You just have to give them time. If someone came to us tonight, the five of us said, "Hey, I want you to take over Stevie Wonder's estate," we were like, "Huh?"
Right.
It's going to take time. We were like, "Audrey, I got my Songs in the Key of Life album. And what do you do?" I mean, it's all in, and you just got to give them some time. And trust me, from what I've heard, they're going to come out the box swinging, because they know what we want. They hear what we want. But then also, I have to explain to some people, it's always business first. Right. It has to make sense with money. But
absolutely,
as well, you can do a lot of things that doesn't cost much. Like all the other regimes that I've talked to, you can do things that doesn't cost. The simple things, like let's say, for instance, day 2 or day 3 at Paisley, Marilyn walks in and she sees photos of Marilyn from the night before the W. And we thank you, Marilyn, for participating. She'd be like, "Oh my God, I'm up on the screen, blah blah blah." But those are the things that doesn't cost you anything.
Right.
A video booth, go in. Audrey be like, I want to go in and say, man, when I was here at so and so, and I met people from here, I just want to thank you. That goes in the archives. You may see that on Instagram tomorrow. These things don't cost you anything. So those are the items that could be easily done. But as far as, we were talking about on Clubhouse on Sundays, 365, 4 o'clock. Eastern Standard
Okay,
Time.
Rod.
Anyway,
Yes.
hey,
It's a blast, man. It's a lot of fun. Definitely go.
we talked about bringing back the MPG Music Club in some form or fashion. And someone made a great suggestion, not only Prince music, if you can get a heads up on a Her show or Silk Sonic and get a discount, those are the musicians that Prince dug and was inspired by. So these are the things that you and I can think of, and I just say keep bombarding them, because come July, the sands of the hourglass will turn, and it'll be their turn to carry the baton. And at the end of the day, I say with everything, I don't want Paisley Park to be a bakery. So if it's left up to us, we must do what we must do.
Or a post office. I always say I don't want it to be a post office.
It would be a pretty nice post office. I'm not jinxing it, but it's a pretty size. I mean, anybody would want that retail space.
That real estate.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we were talking about that. Actually, we talked about this before on the show, in regards to the celebration, which we're like so far away from that right now. But, talking about the fact that, we've been they've been continually bringing in acts that we know are related to Prince, the Time and the Family and Maserati and NPG and things like that. But yeah, there's so many other acts, Rodney, just like you had mentioned, that we've talked about before, that would be great additions for the celebration, that would bring in people that may not otherwise come for a Prince related act. Bands like Maxwell and Andy Allo and Leanne LaHavis, maybe those are really huge draws, but like The Roots, Questlove, Shaka Khan, Larry Graham, Janelle Monáe, there's like a whole family of musicians that can be brought in as part of the celebration that could draw more people in that maybe don't know the things internally inside the Purple Bubble that may help to expand the audience quite a bit. And I think that's like a really big miss in regards to the celebration. But I do also think that it's funny that you mentioned that we're not going to be hearing everything that we're not in our lifetime. Right. We're just not going to hear it. They got this new Elvis movie that's out now, and I think about how old Elvis fans are, and I was like, think about all these Elvis fans that are long gone, and they're like, "Damn it, I missed that movie.
I'm coming back for this."
That's going to be us. That's going to be us hobbling into the movie theaters for the Prince movie that's finally going to come out. They didn't do that Netflix special, but God damn, there he is.
You know what? I'm an Elvis fan, and I thought about that when I was watching the movie on Sunday. I was like, what is this going to be like when Prince finally gets his turn in the spotlight?
Exactly.
We're going to be all critical eye or whatever. But yeah, they did a great job.
I haven't seen the movie yet. But
to piggyback on Graceland, if you've ever been to Graceland,
yes, many times.
That is a fine oiled machine.
It is.
Yep.
You're talking about 3 or 4 generations coming there, and I went there and I spent 6 hours and did not see everything. I was like, man, these people are hand over fist.
Yeah.
But hopefully, what Paisley needs is real estate. If they can get real estate, they can copy the same thing.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Give an envelope to the daycare and say, listen, you're 30 years here. Here's an envelope, and this is in just jest. I'm not being serious because somebody would take me as serious. And just say, hey, listen, we'll build you a daycare.
Right.
Just give us the, and that could be a parking garage, which would eliminate the being trapped in celebration the whole week. Mm-hmm. You can go and come, because the old ones, we would come at 10 o'clock, leave at 11:30, get something to eat, go back to the hotel, come back. You would basically go in and out. But now it's like, I see,
you're stuck.
Yeah. Send their kids back with purple paper mache berets and handmade
Chalk
flowers
on the
and stuff.
ground. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cornholes.
playing,
Yeah.
playing starfish and coffee on rotation.
I didn't get to go outside though, but I heard it was interesting. I didn't.
What do you mean you didn't get to go outside?
What?
I didn't.
How did you avoid outside?
I tried. I was asleep on the couch. I was in the 10 PG room. Like,
Recover from your pajama jams.
yes. Oh Lord.
I didn't go outside because I was like, what did I pay for? Oh, I paid for this food. This is the food I'm eating. Okay, this is what I'm doing. Yeah.
There was some good food inside. And then
And it was cold and windy. It was windy.
Well,
I didn't like
we
it.
had some good food truck stuff.
It was difficult playing ping pong in the wind. I'll tell you that.
It was a lot of work.
they tried. They
It's a
tried.
lot of
lot of
work.
work.
I
It was
didn't
a lot
go
of work.
outside.
And
So,
then it's the manpower too. How many people they
Right.
have?
so,
Absolutely.
and so kind of going back, to steer the train back on the tracks as far as the celebration is concerned. And we know that we could talk forever about what we kind of, and we have about expectations of releases. But let's talk about the celebration again for a second, because, we talked about the potential of bringing bands in that aren't just Paisley Park labeled, types of stuff. And I think, who was it that was naming a bunch of other bands too? Oh, Elena was naming a bunch of other bands too. Anderson .Paak, Kamasi Washington, Brittany Howard. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's
Great suggestions.
these are like all fantastic acts that they could do it. But also on the panel side of things too, bring out star panelists like Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters, Tamron Hall, Sherry Shepard, Questlove, Adam Levine from Maroon 5. I mean, these are all hardcore Prince junkies.
Right.
That probably would take a day out of their schedule to come up to Minneapolis and share Prince stories for hours. So, on the performance side of things, what do you think is a good, is a good next move for them on the celebration side of things?
If you read John Bream's review, it was like the
John
longest
Bream.
thing I've seen. He doesn't, it was very in depth, and I appreciate it. I read his review before I sent my feedback to Paisley Park. I wanted to see what he thought, and he told me the Sunday after, or the Sunday that celebration ended, he actually told me that, oh yeah, there's like so many opportunities for them to have A-list, blah blah blah. He says, but just read it, you'll see what I'm talking about. And then I did read it, and I totally agree. I mean, I don't know how these people are, I'm going to say paid, like given an honorarium. I don't know how that works. And I don't know how that would fall back on us. Not saying, I mean, I go big or go home, Rodney knows it's like, we go big or go home. It's like, whatever the cost is for that VIP, that is what I'm doing. But I don't know, with people complaining, going back to Damon and his ideas about, and I don't necessarily agree with them, honestly, but, I don't know how that would work. Yes, they need more A-listers, more people that love Prince, who got to play with him, even if briefly, who are not part of the bubble that you just spoke about, Chris. But as long as they do, I'll reiterate, Prince's music, they can do it however they want. Right. Dave Grohl can do Dave Grohl, you can make it a food thing, whatever. But even though you were talking about a panel with him, but I'm just saying, whoever it is, if it's Janelle or whomever, as long as they do Prince's music, I'm good.
Right.
Well, I think we
another Maserati thing.
I think that we may have.
I saw what you did there.
With the family, that we may have turned the corner where that kind of talent may be possible. I think the one thing that the estate has done up to this point that has been a huge miss and a mistake is the fact that they have not been able to create community. They have only disenfranchised people and created division amongst the fans, amongst other artists, and all kinds of stuff. They have not created community. So I think maybe with the changing of the guard and a different focus, this is a great opportunity for us to see those type of people, because they would come, if he was still here, because he had relationship,
Of course.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
And I also saw, the other thing that's lacking, in my opinion, is the marketing. It's just so bad.
Yes.
It's just not. Yeah, the last minute part of it, the the inability for people to be able to make plans to do something.
Terrible.
It's so last minute, and it's just that part of it has just got to stop. And as far as the advertising is concerned, I mean, I get the retargeting. I mean, good for whoever's doing the retargeting for the Prince store. I can't go to any friggin' website without those Prince store banners following me.
Right.
Hey, don't forget about Prince's jacket. Hey, don't forget about leave me the alone.
Stalkers.
Whoever is in charge of their retargeting, have them work with the celebration advertising and the marketing. It's just there's like so many missing pieces in what they're doing and how they're promoting it. It'd be good to see a television commercial. I don't know if they. I'm not in Minneapolis, but are they doing any type of advertising on TV or radio or anything like that to kind of push?
yeah, I saw the billboards.
There were billboards.
They have
For the celebration?
But it's always
Paisley Park.
shocking to find out that
For Paisley
people
Park.
who live there don't really.
But there was one for the celebration.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw that when
But
I
there
was
should be a
leaving the
national
airport.
commercial.
But national,
Paisley
exactly. When people ask me like, "Oh, so what are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to celebration." Or like, "What's that?" And I always think to myself, because I'm not a dick, I'm trying to, I try to say it in a nice way. Oh,
She's not a Richard.
She's not a Richard.
not a swinging Richard. But I think to myself, why don't they know about this? Like,
Right.
I always think that, like, why don't they know about this? This is so great. It's so fantastic. If they only knew. And I try to put it across in a way that makes it sound interesting and fun and all that. But yeah, it's sad. They need to have much more advertisement.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure who.
And maybe those are the type of things that they are going to do now.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hope changing
And we
of
know-
leadership.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we know they have the information of where their markets are, where the people are, where they're coming from. So, like you said, commercials or whatever it is, they need to hit the other states because, Marilyn, I think you started to say it. There's a lot of people in Minneapolis who aren't doing the it's like, why would you tour your own city? That kind of thing. You've seen it all.
Yeah, they're like shocked, like, oh, you're here for,
Right.
it's like, what? Why don't you know? You live here. You're here.
Right.
Yeah, and I left this comment up there because this is a perfect example of a really good point. We were talking about the Essence Festival here, and the amount of advertising and marketing that goes into what they do for the Essence Music Festival. I mean, Essence Music Festival always very intelligently and strategically places ads in Jet Magazine and puts it on BET and puts it in all the places that that their target audience is going to be.
Right.
They do so much strategic marketing and planning,
Right.
and it just doesn't seem like that's even a thing.
But they
for the
also have
celebration.
partnership with the city,
This is true too,
Right.
but
right?
well, you mean Essence as far as New Orleans is concerned?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm sure that, yeah. I mean, but I don't know how I don't know how that affects
But I'm
their
just saying,
their ability
I
to
don't
market.
think that there's a connection between what happens at Celebration and, let's say, Minneapolis.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, there's
Or
no
St. Paul.
connectivity.
Gotcha.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Exactly.
And here's a good point. Alliance says they have sponsors. No, yes, they do actually. So maybe consider possible partnerships and sponsorships because you've never seen any name like brought to you by Fender or brought to. I mean, there could. There's got to be some sponsorships that can actually happen here that can help help move this along.
Absolutely.
That's a really good point.
Years ago, when I worked for Turner Broadcasting, I worked there almost 20 years. we were in partnership with the Essence Festival for like every year. So on our air on TNT and TBS, we were always promoting them, you know, whether that's their demographic or not, it didn't matter. And you have somebody like Prince, who the world is his demographic, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
I was just thrown off that Mr. Christopher said Jet Magazine. I was just like,
is that still in business? One of them is out of business.
I don't know.
what Chris know about the beauty of the week? I was like,
Ebony, they were all over the place all the time.
Yeah.
got the Jet beauties behind him. Okay. All right. I digress. But,
Target marketing. That was my point. You missed the whole thing.
Target marketing. Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
And on Soul Train, they did commercials on Soul Train. But yeah, I think that's part of their thing is the marketing and just the ability to get the word out. It's just about publicity and just kind of moving. Now, but the other thing too is that even without that, they sold out VIP.
Right.
And Rodney, were you how far away, or anybody, how far away were they at possibly selling out the GA side of things?
My assumption, this is only a guess for me. If you take the amount of people that fit into the Dakota, that's the amount of VIPs they had. If you look at it as a scale, because they could not go over that because you have nobody that's fit into the Dakota. So I think they shrunk down VIP and they had the crux with General.
But he's asking, how do you think? How close were they to selling out General? Do you know?
I don't think they did, but no one would know those numbers.
It had to be close. It had to be close because it was pretty full every night.
Full.
Based upon 2017, 2018, do you think GA was? It wasn't those numbers.
Well, no, but I don't think that they were trying to pack it out like that either. I guess
they did have regulations with COVID.
So, they weren't trying to go to that maximum potential. Either.
Yeah, totally different configuration due to COVID. It's like, they're being careful as possible, but we're sitting close together. But
another thing you can do, Chris, is a year from now, do an autopsy on what the estate have done after the next one. So I think this is where you'll see a 180. And also, I would like to see, just start from the beginning. During this time when they take over, do simplistic things like Live from the Park with Avery Sunshine, or Eric Roberson, or Raheem Devon, or even like Black Alley, who won the contest 3 years ago, who never came back.
What happened with that?
Tracy, who just said hi to you, that's her cousin, the lead singer. And I talked to them, and they just said they haven't heard anything. So these are things that they could put on their wall as a check mark leading up to Celebration.
Was there any actual winner from the VIP contest that they had?
Yes.
For this last Celebration?
I met him at the W. I met him at the W, yeah.
Yeah.
He was like on 20. He was like, whoa! Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. I was like, Mr. Christopher is right over there. Where is he? I was right.
Shut up. It didn't happen.
But you don't even have to use music. How about this for one night only during Celebration? A one night of David Chappelle at Paisley Park. That would sell.
Right. It would sell out in minutes.
Well, I think though, I remember it was either Londell or it was Charles, but they were saying that they want to take Prince on the big screen. They want to take it back to the Target Center.
Oh, wow.
So then you really would have that opportunity to just sell that ticket for that night. Like Amy was saying, if you took it off campus and put it somewhere like that, you would make a killing if you had Dave Chappelle and then a concert, paired together.
That would be great.
That would satisfy the people that couldn't afford the week passes.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think, this is a random, perhaps propose a super fan or two to be allowed on the board of decision making, an actual lifelong super fan to make suggestions. Yeah, I would agree that would be a fantastic idea, because I think you got to have this. Not that all those people that are on board right now are not super fans, but I kind of question that sometimes. because it seems like they know the music, but they're not like us.
Right.
I don't know that for a fact, but I find it hard to believe that they're really as hardcore as some of us are. It's just, it's
That can be a gift and a curse.
it is.
And a
It's
curse.
it's absolutely
Chris be
positive.
like, I want a super deluxe of Chaos and Disorder.
Like, what?
Just kidding.
I would think about the money aspect. I wouldn't want to come up with an idea that didn't sell, and then they'd be like, "All right, you no longer have a vote at this table.
You're out of here.
You gotta
But you can do like ambassadors.
slide your chair back."
People aren't contracted to help pay with marketing and
Yeah,
lot of
ambassadors
people
would be
out there.
great.
Yeah, I absolutely think that I do feel like there needs to be more people that have a voice in this, but
and make the music club like a network. Have your podcast on there, other people's stuff. People come in interviews, make it an all one-stop shop.
just like news radio. I mean, you guys aren't familiar with WSB, but I know every single city has their own talk radio. But Atlanta has talk radio stations, but they have like different shows. They have, from this time to this time, it's this podcast. And from this time to this time, it's this podcast. And yeah, be able to put it all together in one, like an NPG music club type of thing. That would be absolutely fantastic and easy to do. Yeah. Prince 365 time from 8 to 10. And, Funkatopia Live will be on from 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning.
Audrey at midnight.
Prime time, Chris.
Audrey at midnight. Audrey at midnight.
That's right. When it counts at Audrey at midnight.
She go right to the quiet storm.
The quiet storm.
Blue light in the basement.
Do you think we should talk about what we liked about Celebration? Because
Yeah.
I'm big
absolutely.
on promoting, people coming and, wanting to spend that money to come. Like I said, I really didn't. I love Damon. So funny when we saw him on the Thursday night when Lincoln was at the W, and I saw him like lurking around outside. I was like, dude, we can't wait to see you at what you bring on Saturday night. And of course, he brought it. He was fire.
Yeah.
But the price is what it is. Like if we're talking about getting Dave Chappelle or getting Lenny Kravitz or whomever, it's like, I think they know not to make it so exorbitant that it becomes prohibitive, right?
So Shay, it shall be done.
But I think that that's not, for me, that's not an issue. I feel like this is the entertainment. You spend your money however you like.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You spend your money however you like. So if you can't afford it, don't bitch and moan and complain and say this and that. When I see that, usually I try to scroll past things like that, but sometimes I'll say, so when was the last time you went to Celebration? Crickets.
Right.
Cricket.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's like talking to me about politics. If you don't vote, don't ever open your mouth to talk to me about politics. If you don't vote,
Right.
I have nothing to say to you. I don't want to hear anything you have to say. So
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that price point either.
Yeah.
I will pay that VIP ticket price. I don't care. Because
Yeah,
to me, it's still a
exactly.
great value. I don't care.
It's a unique
But
experience.
I
We
do
all experience
think-
together.
They should have other options. So if a person just wants to buy a 1-day pass,
Day pass. Right.
they can just do that. Okay. You
Yeah.
just want to come on, Friday and be there for the whole thing. That's fine. Or whatever the case may be, because you do have a lot of locals that don't want to necessarily buy a ticket to Celebration,
Right.
but they may buy a day pass.
Right.
Yeah.
But
That
then
could be
what
an
happened at this celebration would have been that everybody would have bought those passes to go see Prince live on the big screen, and then probably nothing else.
And that's
That's
okay.
the reality of it.
But that's okay.
And it would be okay, but for the people that are willing to pay the money, like Marilyn says, to actually pay the money to do the full everything, the full shebang with everything, the panels, all the shows and everything. I think those tickets have to take priority monetarily for them, and then whatever's left over can be offered as a day pass. But then And again, at that point, you have to act quickly. And I think, Audrey, what you said, and as far, I don't know who had made that suggestion as far as doing those Prince live at the big screens at Target Center again, because strategically in Minneapolis, that was a good call. Because was it 2019 when they, or was it 2018 or 2019 when they did that?
18 was at Target, 19 was at the Armory.
17 and 18, right?
Yeah, it was the same show, but 2018, that was, I don't know if it was sold out, but it seemed like it was sold out, or it was very, very close to being sold out.
Yeah.
But I don't think they could.
The place draped. Do you know what I mean? Like areas, they had it strategically put together, and it gave you the feeling of being sold out because they had the different levels and what have you.
Yeah, I just think they also did that because there's some seats in that arena where it's just not a good place to sit if you're trying to get that experience of that screen, because you have to see the screen.
Right.
You can't just be anywhere. You have, that screen is the whole part of it. And that was the other thing too, when you take this thing on tour. I know they did that at that Prince Live at the big screen, and they did it again at this one where they say, we're going to take this and you want us to take us on the road? And we're like, yes, absolutely. You want to take us on the road. And I talked with Tony after the show, and he said, what do you think? We need to take it on the road. I was like, that looks like a lot of money on that stage, my man.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what that looks like to me. And he was like, oh, well, we had to slim it down some. And I was thinking, what are you slimming out?
Yeah, what are you?
You can't afford to take anything out of what is in the show.
Right.
But I know
and still have it be true to the brand that they're trying to establish of what Prince on the big screen is.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I just think it's. I would love to see that go on the road, but it has to be realistic because you have to be able to fill an auditorium that's going to be able to pay for that production and moving all those people from point A to point B. And I just don't see the financial feasibility. I can see it in Minneapolis. You're putting it into the Target Center, and you're at the core of Prince's hometown, but you take it to Atlanta.
Detroit.
We love them here, but are you going to be able to sell out a place that's going to make enough money to pay for what you got going on up there?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Know your audience.
Yeah,
I can see it in New York. I can see it in LA.
Yeah, Kirk said that same thing in 2018, which was the Target, and then when I saw him at the unveiling of the street name, I went up to him and shook his hand and just kind of acknowledged him, and he was like, I told him they were so great on Saturday night, and he's like, oh yeah, like, do you think we should take that on the road? And I was stuck because the answer honestly is no.
Right.
Okay. But
I would love to see it. But again,
I'd love to see it, but how is that going to work for you and your costs and your overhead? So I just said it was just fantastic. I just love having this experience here at Paisley Park. For me, it's special that it's there. So
there are some things that could work.
Yeah.
A Third Eye Girl version of that.
Right.
Where you just got to pay for, you got to have a Hannah and eat it. It's just like a, but something that could just be.
Did you guys have the studio session with Third Eye?
I did, yeah, for the VIP folks.
I did not. I had the MPG.
And that's another thing. If you have VIP, you should have your choice of whatever you want to see. Like Essence. If I want to go see Charlie,
or you could do both.
Or if I want, or do both.
I want to do both.
Right.
Yeah.
And
so Sandra says Maite was talking about a residency in Las Vegas. Was that who was talking about that? Can anybody?
Maite has been working on that for a little bit. She spoke on it at her dance session. Her belly dance.
Yeah. So doing a Prince live on the big screen residency in Vegas?
Her own.
Oh, her own residency. Yeah. Well, now, thank you, Sandra, for giving me an idea that I'm thinking of now, is that you put it in one place, like a residency at one of the smaller, grander hotels that's out there. Not like something huge like the Mirage, but if you had some type of residency like that, where it's a shortened period of time for a couple of weeks, where you are just doing it hardcore. You do
Yeah.
some type of 360 type of thing where it's
That
just
could work.
it's
Oh,
a whole
absolutely.
thing. It's a whole experience. Guess what? I'm buying a ticket.
I'm buying 2 tickets.
I'm going.
I'm going.
3121 Reborn.
Right.
Yeah, so that's an
2.0.
option. That's again, we're not in the celebration track anymore, but that's
Yeah.
fine. We're trying to figure out ways to make y'all some money. So yeah, I mean that's kind of what it is what it is.
To get back to Marilyn's question or statement, the studio sessions were amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, I heard they were fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What an experience.
Yeah, and that's what the fans are hungry for.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they got away from the opening session when we get into Paisley of a video or some type of audio. People were looking for that because we used to go in there, sit down. What are we going to see now?
I talked about that before you got on. I was like, we
Okay.
sit down, the lights come down, and it's Prince.
Now, and that may have to do with Netflix. So I don't know.
Yeah,
That's a whole nother.
that's a whole other can of worms.
Wow.
It's I know. I heard next year's the year that it's coming.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
the last I heard. I don't know if anybody else has confirmed that, but yeah.
No.
But yeah, so as far as the celebration is concerned, I think there's a lot of great ideas that we could, share. I mean, they still kind of. I mean, Rodney, you might be able to answer this question. I don't know who knows the answer to these questions or not, but folks that I don't know that have done Q&A sessions there before, and maybe they have, and I just missed it, like Wally and Jam and Lewis, Morris Day, have they done like sit down Q&A panel types of things at these celebrations, or are they just refusing to do them for scheduling conflict reasons?
They
Or
have not done them.
Morris Day was scheduled for 2020. Remember, Rodney?
Yeah. Jerome and the Time was scheduled for one. They wanted to sit down with Wally, but they needed Wally because of as far as handlers, it was not enough people. So he was the MC and did other symposiums. It's manpower. It's people there. And that's why you can't extend the parties at night like we used to 3 or 4 in the morning, because you have to have people there. So that comes. So hopefully that'll change.
Right.
But there's a lot of people you can get. I think that there should be a pre-show with people like yourself, like Audrey or Christopher or Michael Dean, that's on the premises doing a live feed, like an Essence, like welcoming people in, sitting them down, like a pre-show.
yeah,
You
absolutely.
have to walk. Hey, you've been here for 3 celebrations. How's it feel to be back? And blah blah blah. And that can be stored somewhere, and people can go back and view it or listen to it at their leisure. There's a lot of things they can encompass, but like I said, we will see.
Yeah, I think they need to have a wider breadth of interviews. I'm not saying that for myself, but I don't. No offense to. I love Andrea's work and Dwayne's work. Dwayne's a really good friend of mine, but I don't. I wish that there was more people of color doing some interviews.
And they're there, and they're willing, and all they need.
I feel like the more variety, and they're not asking. They're not asking.
Josh Welton I think would be a live.
Josh would be great. So many people that are that.
Who I think would be fantastic, and somebody that definitely needs to be there and speaking about his development is Spike Moss.
Yes.
I don't know.
No way.
I'm not that familiar. I'm shaking my head, but I'm not that familiar
Spike
with
Moss was the person that really helped Prince at the Way.
Oh, I know who you're talking about now. I know who you're talking about.
Him.
But is he? I've seen him on tape talking. Do you think he would be a lively interviewer? I mean,
I spoke to him before.
Oh yeah, because when I saw him at the Historical Society, he was fantastic.
Okay, nice.
He was fantastic. He was the big surprise of the day.
Nice.
Okay, and all of the history that he has, and he's like, nobody ever comes and talks to us.
And the problem with that is there's so many changes of the guard. There's not enough time for people to sit and say, all right, we need to go get this person. And then by the time they do, it's off to the next person.
Right.
So
Right.
there needs
Yeah.
to be an archive saying, "Hey, I just left in 2022. I left off here. You need to check out these people."
Right. Right.
Yes.
Because
I mean,
honestly,
he is a treasure, I think, and he is a treasure trove of information
you're right.
that can
I've
give you a
listened to him.
picture of the development that went into creating Prince.
Yeah, he's an
You know?
OG. He's an OG for
He's-
real.
So
And let me
I
just.
think people like him. I think people like Sylvia Anderson, who was doing their costumes.
Oh, right.
We need to hear from her.
So many comments on Spike. Spike is a legend at home. Spike was a local activist. They're not ready for Spike.
But Spike is still
Get ready.
Yeah.
Spike is awesome. That event on YouTube. Yes, Audrey, Mr. Moss is so important. And of course, Spike, and then someone mentioned Celie, I
Oh,
guess Celie
yeah.
McGinnis.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Amy
Yes.
Lee McGinnis.
Yes.
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 Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different suggestions that could easily fill this, just to kind of add some more,
Yes.
I don't know, levity to the.
Some more color, and I'm not saying color, but
yeah.
more
It
color.
don't.
and
It
just a
doesn't
little-
matter if you are, because that's the right answer.
But
more
both.
dynamic.
Just a little bit more
More
depth
dynamic.
too.
Right.
You know,
A bit
Yeah,
more
yeah.
depth.
A different hue.
I think the funniest thing.
More
different
contrast.
hue, a little
More,
shade.
more melanin.
You know, the funny thing about all of this is we're throwing out suggestions, ideas, and brainstorming these things to create and add to whatever. But so for all the listeners and anyone who has not been, you still got to understand these are still amazing events,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
regardless of
Every
the
penny.
celebrations.
Worth
This is worth every bit
Every
of
penny.
everything. So
Absolutely.
right, we're not trying to say these aren't great shows. Here's what you need to do. We're saying these are amazing shows. Here's more, because we're chomping at the bit to have more added. So I just want to throw that out there. This is by no means slighting what's being
not at
done or what's
all.
been
No, no,
done. Absolutely.
One of a kind experiences. And, like in 2019, we got to go into Studio A, and I was thinking we probably never get to do that again. But this time we got to do it again. It's just amazing to stand in Prince's space, and see what he looked at every day and
I
things
got
like
to the
that.
kitchen.
There you go. It's just, and as far as the moderator, okay, so I'm just asking a question. Do you think that the moderator should be like a different person every day? Like this time we had Robinson is her name? Was that her name?
She really didn't do any moderation though. She just kind of was just Andrea
like
Hosted,
Dwayne.
played.
Yeah.
Hosted and emceed us through the day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't particularly. For me, she was distracting. I'm just a very honest person. She's very distracting. Her physicality was distracting to me. So I would prefer. Like I loved JB Steele.
It
I-
still was
I-
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds a lot of fun.
Yeah, when I
Yeah.
saw him at the
Yeah.
Dakota, I was like, Mr. JB, we
Mhm.
need you back there. You were the stuff.
He
He
was
was
good.
like,
Yeah.
you need to tell him that. You need to tell him that. I said, I will make sure that somebody finds out. Trust me.
I think
I'm a
the
big
MC
mouth. I will do that.
does not need any cue cards. You need to go out there and
Right.
just be yourself.
Yes.
Yes.
You just tell me who's coming up next, and I'll fill in the rest of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My suggestion for 2020 before COVID, and I had a verbal confirmation from Sinbad before he had the stroke,
Mm.
and I was ready to rock and roll.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Grant Hill. There's so many people that can captivate the crowd and
Yes.
know what they're talking about.
Yes. They have
I mean-
experiences.
He is. I like him because he's always on like 30.
Right.
When it comes
Right.
to Prince, he is.
Oh,
on 30.
he'll do the dance roll and all that. He's always into it. He's gonna love it. He's gonna love it.
Yeah.
And this brings up a little bit of thing. April said that's why they need to release the celebrations on DVD. Some of that they're doing all this recording, so I know they're planning on doing something with something. But this brings up another question too. What would you guys think of like a pay-per-view type of angle with the celebration for people who just simply can't make it? Is it possible that? So Marilyn's shaking her head no. Marilyn's like flat out nope.
Nope.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with Marilyn.
Yeah, you need to come to, as Mitch McGuire says, HQ. headquarters. This is the only place in the world that is Prince's home, Paisley Park. Have that experience. It is very different. Let me tell you something. When I go there, I still go and do at least 1 or 2 tours. Even though I've been there the whole time, all those days, I go and do a tour or 2. And when we did this tour on Monday, or the 6th, which was, Monday, this young lady came in with us. Soon as she got into the room, the media room that has the story of Prince when he was little, she just broke down and just like fell to the floor crying. She was overwhelmed. And I was like, this is what people need to understand.
Right.
This space, this place, there's no place like it. You need to find a way to come here. It's that simple.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100% on that as well. To me, the mentality of most people, if you did it once, yeah, you're going to have sales, but you'll never be able to do it again. And suddenly the mentality of people is, oh, well, I'll wait till it comes out over, later. Yeah. And then all of a sudden the draw is gone. So I totally agree that I wouldn't.
Well, Jeff, this was your first time. This was your first experience there. So what was that like for you? I mean, going in cold. I mean, I guess you had heard some things about what it was like, but how was that for you as a first timer? And did it meet your expectations?
Well, that's a good one, because I had done a lot of research and, of course, talked to a lot of people, and it didn't matter how much was told to me and what was said about what was going to happen. It still was way beyond what I was ready for. Now, we talked about this when we did our celebration recap. I spent a lot of that time not feeling things. But my not feeling things, being overwhelmed, I'm not an emotional roller coaster type of person anyways. But I spent a lot of time being numb, because it's like, man, I could have done this before. Like I said before, I'm here now, and now he's not. So I missed it. So it was hard to get excited about some things. It was easier to just be like, damn. But the whole show and the whole thing overall, and not just the celebration, but tie that with the rest of the city and going to the places that people went, it was phenomenal. It was just, you have to go.
Yeah.
If just to be in places. I'm not a big picture taker. I'm not I want to have a picture and play in
You had places. No choice this time.
But you have to, you feel it. You got to do it.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. Anyone who has never been, you have to go just for the whole experience, just for everything. Like Chris talked a lot about the celebration website, where we have the pins and we have all the locations, all the places that you can go. You don't have to go to all those places, and it's not saying go see everything. But when you come across something that, oh my gosh, I remember this from the movie. I finally made it here. Or someone told me about this, and you're finally standing there. This city is an amazing city of things.
Overwhelming.
Well, we are getting a lot of people that actually are pulling for the pay-per-view angle, and most of people are saying, either they can't because of financial situations, they're just never in a scenario where they can actually go, and there's people overseas and disabled people that would probably pay-per-view, but maybe they're recording this for something. They're recording all these panels, they're recording all these live performances. My guess is that maybe if pay-per-view is not a thing, maybe there is some type of scenario where they will put some type of collection of celebrations together. That may be something awesome, like a super deluxe of celebrations starting from 2000 all the way there.
Celebration.
I'm going to push myself away from the board table. It's like celebrations started from 2000 all the way to.
Oh wow!
A library. A Prince bought of celebrations.
A lot of that is for archive prosperity. So for the state.
And as far as people being overseas or whatever, I don't know if that's a red herring. I don't know if that's an excuse. I'm just being a bit of a dick right now, but
Richard.
Queen Richard.
Yeah.
But
change the rating of this video.
The girl who fell to her knee, her name was Natalie, and she's from Australia. Okay, so Yeah, and she couldn't thank us. It was me and Claire and one of the other young ladies from Atlanta who kind of just held her and just kept her. And she's like, "Thank you, thank you." I said, "This is what we do." I said, "You don't have to thank us. This is what we do. We are Purple fam. We're here for you." And she was just adorable. You know what I mean? Just fantastic.
There was people 7 years ago saying $300 for a week. I'm not going.
But see, the point of that is that all goes back to something that we mentioned earlier. Their marketing is not strong enough because people will spend money if you show them why it's valuable. If someone doesn't come to a show, that's because they don't see the value. And if they don't see the value, you can only blame the marketing team. Mm-hmm. That's it. You can't blame anyone else. If I don't see the value to going, I'm not going to spend $400. But this fan base of people who've been there and who know it's good, a lot of people came to that show just because of shows that we did talking about the celebration. That turned people and made people go, I wasn't going, but now that I've seen this. So if we can affect that many people. That's it. There it is.
There it is.
There it is. But yeah, if we can affect that many people,
When he was with us.
then their marketing can do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
When he was performing every night.
Yep.
$2 bottle of water. How dare he?
Yeah, for those that missed it, it was like $250 for the week when Prince was with us, and he was performing every night. And they had like Nora Jones and all these people that Najee, and
Alicia
it was just
Keys.
like
Alicia Keys, Erica.
Yeah,
crazy. Erica
There'll always
Badu
there'll
shoving
always
money in
be
that swear jar.
Okay, there'll always be that group that will complain about the price. So
Absolutely.
Right,
$1,700.
exactly.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
nothing you can do about that. It's like,
Right.
you know what?
Remember what was that? The $1,700 last time?
yeah,
What? How dare? And you
Yeah,
complain that you paid for that?
It's the same time every year. Now that it's in June, we know that they've added a couple of months. So
just save your money.
Save your money. It's not
prepare.
that hard. Save your money.
I think also they
Have a
should
Prince
do
account.
Exactly.
a fan commercial talking about the previous commercial celebration. Like, yeah,
Exactly.
you gotta come.
Yeah, there you go.
Sound
quick
bites. Sound
snippets.
bites.
Highlights, sound bites, all of that.
With
Yeah.
us on
All
camera
of
talking
that.
about how
Crazy Park
exciting.
celebration.
sure.
You missed it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't miss it next time.
Yeah, don't
Yeah.
miss it next time.
Yeah,
I
just-
mean, and then when you look at the price, right, and you look at what you're getting, and you're looking at it over a per day sort of breakdown,
Yep.
and you look at all the staff, number one, that has to be there to support all of us coming in,
Yep.
right? And you got to look at the talent, and you got to look at all these different things. It's not that much money.
Right.
Exactly.
It really isn't.
Yeah, and like I said, they feed you, and the food was good. It's for people who's organic. You know,
We
they
had a
gave us
video
breakfast
booth.
and lunch. So
We had a video booth.
Come on.
Yeah, I see all of it. And just so you guys know, not everybody here, but anybody who's listening, they will be doing it again next year in June. So
Get ready.
go ahead.
Start your Prince
now.
account now.
exactly.
Even if you just put aside $2 a day, you're gonna be all right by the time it
Just
comes around.
$2 a day. We should have that commercial.
Oh,
Just
like
$2 a day.
For just $2, we'll put
That
sad
Can be
puppies.
yours.
Yeah,
That
we'll,
is hysterical.
we'll get Sarah McLaughlin to play something in the background. Put some sad puppies on for just $2 a day.
$2
Yeah.
a
You can
day.
party your ass off.
All you got to do, honestly, if you're in,
can't.
even if
I
you're
can't.
not a money person, figure out about how much it would cost you to go, and then divide that by how many days, 360, whatever days
Months,
it
yeah.
is.
Right.
And then that's how much. That's all you got to do. It's not that hard. You don't even have to guess. Those are hard figures. Do that.
You know, that's called a budget and forecasting.
You can do it.
You can do
it.
Richard said so.
And more exclusive stuff for people who do actually physically attend, like that clear vinyl.
Man, yes.
Yes,
Got
sir.
mine.
Yes, ma'am.
What?
I know, right?
I mean, and
I'm
I,
gonna show you
I
the back. I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I said this to
Thanks,
Jeff
Jeff.
Page, and I was just like, I'm gonna save this for after. But I was like, this should have only gone to the VIPs to kind of build more value into what they were doing.
Oh,
Agreed.
But I'm gonna keep quiet until I get mine.
I was
Yeah.
said it. Okay.
that's mean.
Yeah.
That's mean.
When he said
I
it,
was
I was
GA,
like,
I was like-
I agree.
I'm gonna keep this quiet, but they should have only done this for VIP folk.
Yeah, knowing our luck, they'll be like, yeah, good point. Give me yours back.
No, it's mine now. It's got a number and
Not
everything.
now. We fight.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
funny.
It's Anyways, yeah. I saw somebody on Paisley 5 and Dime sell theirs for $250.
Sure. I can imagine.
Listen, it's worth about whoever wants to pay the amount for it.
Exactly. I was
Absolutely.
just collecting like that. It's worth whatever somebody wants to pay.
They want to pay $1 million for it.
Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Roseanne says she played it as soon as you got. You can see mine still in the wrapper. I'm not
Mine is
opening this
not
thing.
open.
I
Mine
know
is
what
not open.
I know what the audio sounds like. I'm just gonna keep it in here. I'm playing it in here. I think we have the bootleg to this, don't we?
Okay.
I wouldn't use that
Come
word
on.
so
Come
loosely, though.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So
All we got to go left.
yeah.
Have a version of it. Can you just say a version?
Yeah, so we got some people who wanted to send their love tonight. That Tony M sends his love. He was going to be here tonight. He had a work emergency, so he could not make it. Also sending their love tonight. She was going to try to drop in, but she had a session this evening. She still could drop in before we stop. But Shelby J also sends her love to everybody here too. Thank you, Shelby, for always tuning in and always responding to all our posts on Facebook, which is always nice.
Always.
Big time, man. You Funkatopia, man.
I'm no Prince 365, but I'm getting there.
Please. I'm nobody.
No, that's not true. We don't have a pajama jam.
Hey,
You can.
not yet, though.
You can.
See?
But when we grow up, we want to be.
No.
Yes.
no.
Our pajama jams would be lingerie and chaps. That's what the
Yeah.
just to see how that goes.
And Prince is the king. Mr. Christopher is the king of chaps right now, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Shelby J has a concert coming up in July in North Carolina. Go to support. It's actually not too far of a drive. We may actually love to kind of go out. She's got a bunch of guest people that are going to be dropping in on that show too. So, yeah. So
Another
if you're
shout
anywhere
out
near
to-
that,
Happy belated to Rosie Gang's birthday a couple days ago.
oh man, I missed it. Oh, was that? So it was Sunday?
Yeah.
Rosie Gaines, Andre
Yeah.
Simone.
Yep.
Absolutely, positively. That was one person that I absolutely missed on the Prince Live on the big
Yes.
screen. But
Yeah.
I also know that what she was doing back in the day, in the 90s when that was shot, took a lot out of her physically, because she's such a powerhouse, and when she sings and she performs, she always brings it. And I know that everything that she's been through health wise, you know, I don't know Rosie personally, but you can tell from her work ethic and the things that you've read and seen of her that she is not going to get beyond the mic unless she knows that she's going to actually positively be able to bring it. But I don't know. She's always in our prayers, and I would love to see her perform again, because she was a monster. Oh my gosh.
was.
Just, oh
I
my
would have
gosh.
loved to see her daughter Latoya there.
Is she also a singer, obviously, like her?
Oh, Latoya's
Yeah.
in love. Yeah.
She
I haven't heard her.
is a
Oh my
beast.
gosh.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Latoya's
Hey, y'all, question: Why haven't we talked about Maserati?
Why?
You start, Richard. You go right ahead, Richard. Go ahead.
No, well,
The bad boys
I-
of Paisley.
With a
Bang,
Z.
bang.
yeah.
I love Bang Bang. I don't know. Come on, Audrey.
I
sing along
do.
with me. Bang Bang. Oh, we're not. Oh, okay. All right.
What? I thought it was I mean,
You all right, Jeff?
never mind.
I love Maserati.
I do. I love Maserati too. I think that this, you know, Yeah, well,
You stutter, Chris.
Speechless.
Mark's a good friend of mine, so I gotta be real
Not anymore.
careful.
No,
I ain't said shit. I ain't said nothing.
the truth is audio, sound wise, it was a good
really
show.
good. It was a good show.
It's a really good show. There were a few too many elements that was taking away from the quality of the show. Can I say that? Because it was not that it was a horrible show. There were just some elements that kept tugging. It's kind of like when you're watching a film and something happens that makes you remember that that's not real, and it just takes you out of that place, and you go, "Oh yeah, I don't believe that."
Yeah.
There was
They were
a little bit
swallowed
of
up by that stage. They were swallowed up by that stage. They should have been positioned differently or something that might have helped them.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it made them try. There was just a lot more that didn't have to happen.
Stop, Rodney. Here's what I say.
I want to hear from the musicians.
Well, here's the thing. What I could tell you is that I think I see what he was trying to do as far as like the video portion of it, but some of that stuff was so repetitive. It was like there was so many video loops that were playing, like the what was the light skinned girl that was fluffing up her hair. We saw that scene like 20 times during one song.
Yeah.
Some of the iMovie transitions and on some of the stuff, some of the video things just could have been done a little bit better. I think knowing what you're up against as far as what you have to perform in front of, as far as all the work that went into like Prince live on the big screen and knowing what they were going to be up against, if you're going to be creating something that's going to be a really standout visual component of your show, there just needed to be a lot more, production and some good quality professional work. It looked, I think the video part of it was just a little bit amateur.
It was a smart thing to do as well.
It was very smart to do.
It was definitely the right move, but
because you need to have some visuals, especially if there's if nobody is going to be moving on the stage.
Yeah,
you gotta have something to watch. Until Tony came out, of course. And then once Tony came out, the whole show changed.
Whatever.
Once Tony Christian came out, the whole show changed.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah, for sure.
Funny.
But yeah, I thought musically they did a great job. I thought it was good for the amount of work that they put into it. But yeah, you got to prep for a show like that. You got to prep.
Yep.
Rodney was he basically threw a grenade in the room and then walked out is what I just saw Rodney do, because he hadn't said jack shit yet.
He pulled the pin and said,
excuse me. Oh wait, I think my phone's ringing. I'll be back. Y'all just keep on doing your thing. All right, Rodney, you can't get out of this now.
I want to hear from the two musicians. You guys are musicians, right? I want to get your spin on it. I actually did not hear the entire show.
Oh, sure you didn't.
Oh, too bad.
Okay. Oh, that's right. You were dozing off.
That's
between.
right. The wheel.
Here was Rodney a majority of the show.
No.
Yeah. If I had my phone, I'd have captured you. Many times.
That was a panel.
That was panels. That's true.
That's true. Okay, it was panels.
And they were just nods.
They were just nods.
They were streams. But I had to work on my event. That was at the same time, so I had to leave.
Yeah. Well, you did. Yeah, that's true. That's right. Yeah.
Right.
For what you saw, what was your feedback?
I thought the intro was great. That's all.
The intro, is that what you said?
Wow.
The intro.
They came out. They had the group of fans at rest the stage. That's all I saw.
Yeah.
So that's all I do.
Well, we were all excited for them. Think about it.
Absolutely.
I mean, we didn't have any ill will. We were like, so excited for them. We wanted them to do well, but things kind of sort of fell apart. I mean, they just did.
I think that the set list was maybe a little bit.
How long was the set?
It's about an hour and
An
15.
hour, maybe.
Oh, was it that long?
It
Yeah,
did.
well, there was a lot of stuff in there.
Let's
It was that long. It was a lot of stuff in there. Marilyn, were you at the Maserati show in Atlanta?
Yes, the one in Atlanta, which was the video shoot.
That was actually I kind of felt like the energy that was there, and this is a very, very limited audience. I was there. Matter of fact, if you go on the Facebook page for Funkatopia, it's like one of the videos that keeps popping up at the top of the video list. But I interviewed Brown Mark right after that performance, but they did. I don't know if they were just energized because of the fact that they haven't performed in a really long time as, Maserati. It was a totally different energy. And I was just like, oh man, if it's going to be anything like that, it's going to be a really, really great show. And it was just the way that they constructed stuff and the set list and everything was it was a totally different vibe. And then with here, it just kind of felt like there was something else going on. Like there was something internal going on. That's kind of what I felt like. But again, musically, I've got nothing. I can't say anything about Mark. I heard a lot of people giving feedback about his original stuff. I actually like Brown Mark's original stuff. I think even the two songs that he played were kind of cool.
Yeah, the songs were okay.
Mark is a great musician.
He's an excellent musician, and I just, I know that he's going to be able to pull some of these pieces together, and it's going to be a monster. It's going to be great.
I hope so.
I think so too. We're pulling for him because we all love Maserati. I mean, that's just the bottom line.
Or Brown Mark Nation.
And Brown Mark, for sure.
Or Bad Boys of Paisley, however.
What did you say? Audrey, did you say anything?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Any particular reason why, Audrey?
Would you like to?
I don't have anything to add.
Do you agree, disagree?
The senator from Maryland abstains from that question.
Are you done editing the congressional hearing stuff?
Yes,
Rodney, you are.
I'm looking at my other stuff here.
That was. There you go. That was a mess today. Oh, yeah, that was fire today. For those who missed it today, I don't want to talk about it, but
not over yet.
Wow, today was crazy. Okay. Anyways, yeah. So, so to kind of encapsulate everything we got to talk about as far as celebration, we're not going to keep you guys all night, but the first thing is obviously the marketing of it, but they have to be careful with the marketing because even with their lack of marketing, they're still able to sell out the VIP stuff. They're still able to get very, very close to selling out with general admissions. So if they do too much marketing, it's going to sell out really, really quick. And so I don't know the efficacy of that or not. But widening up the people who are playing, the bands that are playing, the panelists that are playing, in order to attract other people into, I know lots of people that really love Prince, but have never seen him in concert, have never, don't know really much outside of Purple Rain, but if they were kind of drawn in to what is Paisley Park and the experience that is Paisley Park from some other act, like maybe a Foo Fighters type of thing. I know you were talking about, they should play Prince stuff, but for those who've ever been to like the Jelly Bean Johnson experience types of things, the Nothing Compares to P scenario, where you've got bands like, like Law and Planet 12 and Movement and those guys, they kind of come out and they do a few songs of theirs, but then the rest of covers of Prince stuff, their own versions, their own spins on things. And that makes it really, really enjoyable. It's just, you get to hear a little bit of what they do and what a little bit of,
you're right about that. We're not going to fight.
There's got to be ways. There's got to be ways that they can. Yeah, there's got to be ways that they can bring in bands that are going to attract new audiences that are in more current generations than we are, to kind of make sure that legacy is going to be continued on after we're gone.
Right.
I agree.
I just think that there's opportunity for that. More panelists that are along that also have stories, like the Questloves and like the Dave Grohls and like we've been talking. There's so many people that have hundreds of stories.
But there's even though, let's not forget, there's still more people to hear from that
So many.
worked
Right.
with him directly that we have not heard from.
Yeah,
And
like
it would be a great opportunity to actually hear from someone from Primary Wave at Celebration.
That would be great.
What's coming, or they want to just talk to us and do a back and forth.
that would
You
be
know
a
what I mean?
fantastic
So-
idea. I completely 100% agree with that. I think that's a fantastic idea. Somebody I know they've got spokespeople because they're all over these PR pieces. There's got to be somebody who's going to stand in front of the Prince crowd once this happens and just say, thank you guys. We'd like your input. We'd like, here's what we got coming for you. Here's some of the things you can expect. Here's kind of this. Just give us something. Tell us what's going on. There's too many things in the unknown.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, the whole point of this really with the family taking over, what does that mean too? It would be good to have some type of representative that will stand in front of us from them and say, hey, here's kind of what's coming, or we don't know what we're doing, or whatever. Just tell us something. Be honest. Let us know what's what's happening.
Just kind of allowing us to feel like there's more transparency, even if they're just putting someone out there to speak. It would be good. And they don't have to, of course, tell us everything. But you're right. That sort of representation just, feels better. It's really strangely
Well,
enough.
I did have Charles Spicer on my Clubhouse for about an hour and a half Sunday.
Wow.
And he talked about from their standpoint of what they want to bring forth, their ideas, their 180 turn, what Prince would like, what they thought, and they're not trying to recreate the wheel, but just please the fans.
Right.
And that's their goal. And they want to try to jump in day one to do that, not give it a little lull. So like I said, just sit back and judge accordingly. I also would like to, would you guys like to see a later celebration
What does that
than
mean?
9:30, like 11 o'clock? What time?
Oh yeah, I don't want to feel like I'm going to work. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't start at 9, you
Yeah.
mean?
I mean, don't start at 9 or 10 or whatever.
Right, and allow
Right.
you to go and come as you please, and then maybe
Yes.
wrap it up at like 2 or 3 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Work it out with the city to allow us to park over there at St. Anne Park if we want to, and
You can
not
park
and
there.
not be
Happening
a victim to the
anyway.
shuttle.
You can park there if you want to. I park there anyway.
I park there every day.
and it was okay during the day. We talked about this. It was
It's at
okay
night.
during the day, but it's night. You're kind of like,
mean,
is
At night,
it?
I was there too.
I'd have to pay somebody and charge y'all $2 a park. Because they want the car. It's always a way to do things. I mean,
Exactly.
Yeah. So, well, let's do a roundtable, kind of give final thoughts on our celebration, our message to the family, maybe to Primary Wave or whoever, and just kind of do a little some closing thoughts. I'll start to kind of give you an idea of how this should be structured. I guess I don't even know how I'm going to structure what's coming out of my mouth right now, but
Jet Magazine.
Jet Magazine and Soul Train. For the folks at Estate, Primary Wave, however we want to look at this, and also for the family, we obviously have a lot of expectations as Prince fans, and we're behind you. We'll support you whenever you release something, even if we don't really want it. That's what seems to be happening right now. But just know that we have a lot of suggestions and a lot of expectations, and we would love to make sure that we, just know, just give us a little bit of a say so in some of the things, or just input on some of the things that are coming down the pike, because we have a lot of suggestions. And let me tell you, it doesn't take a long Facebook search or a long Google search to find a wealth of opinions on there about the directions that we feel like we should go, and suggestions and recommendations. We got plenty of them. We would love to be a part of that decision process, and but we will always support you. We always got your back. We are only here for one purpose only, and that really is to make sure that the legacy of Prince is maintained. That's all that we want, is to make sure that his music continues to reach generations even long after we're gone. So we got your back is basically what I'm saying. Jeff Page.
Yeah. And to add to that, not only do we have your back with whatever it is you're trying to do moving forward, but we're also a safe haven for you to come and be we can be a sounding board. Come here and talk to people. And if you need a place to share, this is the place to do it. Even if it's ideas and looking for ideas, there's no better place to do that, to grow and to understand where to go next than pounding the pavement, than actually being there. And so I think utilizing our groups, 365, Funkatopia Live, anywhere, this is the place to do it. Come to the shows, speak to the people from here, and I think they'll get more honest whatevers they need. So.
Yeah, and if you and I'm also giving guys a little bit of plug as we kind of go around. Jeff Page, he's a fantastic musician. You want to check out any of his stuff, jeffpagemusic.com, for sure. And you can check out all of his stuff there. Marilyn Celeste McNair.
Yeah.
What's your closing thoughts?
Well, I said so much. But
yeah, you did. And I'm going to have to edit the shit out of this video just so we're clear.
Like, why is Marilyn sitting there like a statue? Like, why is she even on there? Anyway, I agree with everything that you've said, Chris and Jeff. Yeah. I'm just going to have faith. I mean, I live in faith and hope, and I think they understand or are starting to understand what Prince's fandom is like, very much unlike anything else, and that they need us and we need them, and we're interdependent, and and hopefully they'll go in and assess and not just start throwing people out of the, just assess and see what works, what can be improved upon, and things of that nature. And as far as, so that's all I have to say about that. As far as parking, you guys already know this. Park at Lake Ann Park. As long as you don't stay overnight, you're good to park there. Don't give them an opportunity to charge $2. Park there. It's a park. It's a municipal park. Park for free. Just don't stay there overnight. You're good. Okay. It's Chanhassen. Nobody's gonna bother you when you walk around in the dark. It's pitch black. You got a phone. Do that flashlight thing. You'll be fine.
And Marilyn is a phenomenal author. Be sure to pick up her book, We Took the Long Way Home. You can actually pick it up on Amazon and a variety of other places as well.
Yes.
Mr. Rodney Fitzgerald, what's your closing thoughts?
I'd be remiss. Ladies first. I can't even laugh.
Audrey Johnson.
I can't even laugh.
I kind of agree with everything that everybody has already said. I think the most important thing is just to create that sense of community amongst all of us, amongst other people that you want to bring into the fold, that you want to have at Paisley, other artists that are doing interesting things that don't alienate them, partner with them, license the stuff, continue to build the community in a lot of different ways, in a lot of different areas. But, we're all here to build a legacy. And that's the most important thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Make sure you join Audrey's group, Purple Genealogy. What else would you like me to promote with you?
On the couch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's got a podcast. She's got a lot of really cool guests, and she's gonna be fire. She's like, how many episodes are you in right now? Like
4.
Yeah, I thought it was like 4 or 5. Yeah,
Awesome.
It's great. It's gonna continue to roll, and
She's added a quiet storm too.
And also, and Audrey, I also wanted to say too, before we move on to Rodney here, that I also want to thank you for being such an avid supporter of Funkatopia, and you've been just
where my heart is.
I mean, you've always been good, fam.
You got me through the grief. I will always be here.
Oh, well, I appreciate it, Derek. You always give nothing but love to Funkatopia, and I love you, Derek. You got my heart, Audrey, for sure. Just don't tell my wife. Rodney Fitzgerald, you want to close it up?
And now for the misfit. I always preach on Sunday at Clubhouse. Well, one thing we have is fellowship amongst this family. We're very big, but we're very small. And we all have to have each other's back. Being a fan and a patron and a supporter to Prince for almost 41 years, that's a long time. But we need to reach back now and get the young people. And I'm proud to see these fan reactions on YouTube where they're like so amazed at his work. We need to have commercials with them. That will boost things as far as saying, yo, I never heard his music before. But just continue to support, realize where we are, make this thing a community, and let the estate, the family know. Family Legacy LLC is their business name. Let them know what they need. I mean, we support to the hill and we criticize to the hill. So they need to know as such. So like I said, what you're doing here, what others are doing, just keep doing it. They'll listen or they won't make money. It's just that simple. So that's all I have.
Well, I cannot thank all of you, and
thank you.
This is a esteemed panel of people who just know a bunch of things and
stuff.
Yeah, it's like it's like so many people have little tidbits of information and knowledge in these little craters, and anytime that I have questions about any type of minutia, these are like, it's either Rodney or Audrey that I'm going to kind of get some of this stuff, and Marilyn. It's just like, it's just, I'm so glad that you guys joined us tonight and we're able to kind of talk through some of this stuff with the celebration, and hopefully, you know, the family will definitely watch this and kind of get some really, really good tidbits to work with. And of course, if they want to reach out and come on the show and kind of speak directly to the fans, we absolutely positively will. We'll accommodate that all day long. And I'm sure Rodney Fitzgerald's group, Prince 365, will also accommodate it on their Clubhouse show. And as you mentioned, you had Spicer on the show. I'm going to check that out too. Prince 365 is an amazing group. It's lots of fun, and let me tell you something. Anytime the celebration happens, he's got an external event that's happening almost every single time.
That's why I got whiskey right over there now. I'm trying to get myself back together.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight on this special episode, and we will see y'all next Tuesday night, where we will have special guest St. Paul Peterson will be joining us here Tuesday night. We're going to be talking about Jeff Page. I'm sorry, I didn't tell you this. Our guest was next Tuesday.
Communication
is surprise. All right, I'll take it.
I just got the confirmation like a couple hours before the show.
This just in.
St. Paul Peterson will be joining us next week to talk about his brand new album, and of course, whatever questions that you guys have about F Deluxe, the family, whatever else that you want to bring it. We'll see y'all next Tuesday. We'll see you guys later. Thank you guys so much for joining us, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Love
Good
you.
night, and we always got to turn up the music so we can.
Thank you.
See it. Oh, it's not even a jam song. Dang it. It's a slow jam. Close it out with a slow jam.
Audrey, quiet storm.
It's quiet storm, Audrey. I need your voice.
Good night, everyone. We'll see y'all.
See you guys.
Thank y'all. Bye.
Bye.
All right, everyone. We'll see all y'all later. It's Jeff, another fantastic show with fantastic guests. Again, next week, St. Paul Peterson. And what a fantastic show. I mean, for something that fell apart 2 hours before.
It certainly fell back together really nicely, didn't it?
Yes. And please make sure, yes, absolutely do purchase Marilyn's book. We Took the Long Way Home. You can actually get it on Amazon.
On Amazon. I would post the link, but it's a really long link, so I didn't. Yeah.
You got to leave that up to, if it's a Cassandra, somebody, I think it was somebody that would post like the super long link that would like take up half the screen. It was like, Facebook adds like all kinds of craziness on the end of things. It's just anyways. But
yep, we took the long way home.
We did, absolutely. Again, shout out to Damon Dixon for joining us tonight. Thank you, Damon. Again, brother, we got your back whenever you need us. We're absolutely positively there for you. Just let us know whatever you can need.
Absolutely.
Tony M sends his love. We will reschedule Tony M Morris Hayes. We will reschedule to kind of talk about the future of MPG. We're going to move that show. Good thing we moved it tonight, because I don't know that we would have time to talk about everything we talked about
I'm
tonight.
glad we did too. Yeah, absolutely.
And then also Shelby J. Shout out to Shelby J. She was in a session. She was going to stop in tonight. And I said, no, hold you to it. But she had a session. She goes, if I can break away, I'm going to come in. But she's in a session, so just let her do her thing.
Yep.
And then next week, St. Paul Peterson. Don't be anywhere. St. Paul Peterson from the family, F Deluxe, and of course, St. Paul Peterson and LP with him and Eric Lee. It's got tons of stuff we're going to be talking about. Yes. And we'll see you next week. Jeff Page.
Mr.
Good night.
Christopher.
See you guys. We'll talk to you later. If you missed any of this episode, you can tune in on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and anywhere that you listen to your podcast and whatnot.
Like, subscribe, all that.
Hello.
Tell everybody. Share.
Yes, absolutely. We'll see you guys later. Oh, and of course, we got to close with one thing. If you're on YouTube, please follow us, subscribe, like us, subscribe to us, follow us, everything else. If you're on Facebook, please like us and follow us there as well. And we will see you guys later. Aaron, I didn't see you all night. Hell on. 2 purple hearts to you too, dear. All right. And we'll see you guys later. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much. See ya.
See ya.
See you later next week.